Warning, audiences everywhere are growing concerned about distasteful and gruesome films.
Just stop right there.
Stay back, boy. This calls for divine intervention. Resurrected.
I'm born again. Holy shit.
This is gonna be a great scoop.
It must be all this fresh air that gives me hay fever. What's the hurry, little way?
It's 100% pure, uncut.
I'm sure it is. Barry, do me a line. I've got a little treat for you.
Just take the one with the donkey and the China knife.
Oh, Fernando! Your mother ate my dog!
Not all of it.
I kick ass for the Lord!
Party's over.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 221 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live and direct with the original 3 up in the Skype studio tonight. We got Double Shot J, also known as Jeremy Patrick, NES Ruler 22, also known as the Jew, and I be your host, the Toxic Offender, Moods. Yeah. What's going on, guys?
Moods, did you get Jackass or no?
Yeah, we got it.
Of course, they had to have got it.
Yeah, no, we got it. I was
no?
actually gonna take my kid to go see it, and I just been busy and stuff. I let him watch all the Jackass shit.
There's a lot of dicks in it.
There's a lot of dicks in this one.
Whatever, man. He's watched all the other Jackasses, so I'm sure. Yeah, it is what it is, man. But no, I do want to.
Lots of wieners.
Why is there so much wieners in it?
When you seen Jackass,
why is
I don't even remember. I watched it on MTV.
Why is there so much wieners in it? That's ridiculous.
Oh, there's a great deal of dick in that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, I guess.
More than the other ones.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I'll
less poop than normal.
And
way more
and the
dick.
first ever gooch shot taint shot I've ever seen in a movie too.
Okay, well maybe it's pretty hard R then, I guess. No, we did get it. I expected to. Honestly, man, like there has been nothing coming out in the cinema that I've been interested in at all.
Me and somebody were just talking about that. There's like just nothing coming out. I was like, we got Scream and then Jackass and nothing.
I know, it just seems like it's very far in between trips to the cinema, and it's gonna be like that. It seems like all year. Like I keep Googling to see if I missed something, and I'm like, I don't see anything I'm overly that interested in.
The Foo Fighters got the Foo Fighters movie.
I might check out Death of the Nile, the Agatha Christie thing.
Oh my god, dude! I have so many versions of Death in the Nile. It's just crazy that they're still redoing Agatha Christie. Like, I'm not joking. That story has been done 100 times in cinematic forms. Like, it's just crazy. Like, why? Like 2022, still doing Agatha Christie.
Well, they just did the Murder on the Orient Express, so I think it's like the same.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's all based off of
No, but I'm saying it's like the same cast.
Right.
It's like an ensemble.
Right. Yeah, I'm not overly interested in it because I've seen so many versions of it. I'm just like, whatever. But for actual,
Liam Neeson has another movie come out this week, and I don't want to see that shit. Looks
horror?
like a typical Liam Neeson movie.
Oh, I guess there is. Well, I mean, it's not cinematic, or in the cinema, but the new Chainsaw movie, which is, when is it dropping on Netflix?
Next week.
Is it next week? So yeah,
I've heard. I mean, people have been roasting that movie. So
the trailers is.
I didn't watch.
It's kind of laughable.
Are they roasting the trailer because who has seen it?
Yeah, the trailer.
But you know what, man? Chainsaw is one of those franchises that the Chainsaw fans are nowhere near as corny and terrible as the Halloween fanboys.
True,
but you got to be honest, man. Like the Chainsaw franchise is a mess, but there is
Leatherface looks kind of. They're pulling a Halloween 18 kind of thing where there's like Sally's coming back to Texas to, come face to face again.
Yeah, but the funny thing about that is like Chainsaw was like the first one to do that.
I know, but
they
kind of
did it with 3D, right? Like a sequel to the original.
Yeah, but now they're just like, it's like kind of like identical to Halloween 18 with Laurie Strode coming back to face Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Now it's Sally coming back to face with Leatherface.
But this is like they're making another direct sequel. Like, this franchise is just a mess. Like,
it's the worst.
Plus, it's the fact that it's called Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
that's the name of the
I mean,
yeah, but isn't it the first one called that?
Yeah, I know it's a strange. I don't know. It just seems like, you know, they've made like these direct sequels to the original, and then they've kind of like remade the movie as like, I don't know, like part 3, and then there's part 4 that's kind of like a satire. Like, this franchise, it's just a complete mess, man. It's so messy. But, you know, honestly, man, I still think that the Leatherface movie was completely, it was kind of mistreated. You know, it was unfairly hated on. I know a lot of people liked it, and a lot of people didn't like it.
The best one.
That's what I'm saying.
The prequel to the remake. That's the best one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with the change. They went off and did a remake, and then they did a prequel to that, and then they just kind of left that shit alone, and they went back to the original franchise. But then they started to make a prequel to the original Chainsaw with Leatherface, and I always felt like there was like at least 2 more movies leading into the original film, which they of course abandoned. And I think they could have really, you know, kind of exposed the story.
The fucking rights changed again,
but I think they could have made some really
pain in the ass.
Yeah, they could have made some interesting follow-ups to Leatherface, and I still think Leatherface is completely unfairly hated on, though, man. I think it's a pretty decent movie, and like when people talk,
really solid.
Yeah, when people talk about it, they're like, "Oh, it's so stupid that this wasn't Leatherface," and blah, blah. I'm like, "The fuck you? Like, did you not watch the movie? Like, it's just ridiculous." But I felt like it was a good start to have like 2 more prequels leading into the original, and it would have been kind of cool to see that, but instead we get another sequel to the original movie. Like, what the fuck? This is the second one. This franchise is so, it's almost messier than Halloween, man. It's just, they haven't really, there's not even really a variety of movies when you really think about it, for having like 9 or 10 movies. It's crazy. So
yeah, it's such a weird, like, whenever you look at the fact that like since 2003 we've had 5 Chainsaw films, and since 2003 we've had 1 Friday the 13th movie, it's kind of nuts when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chainsaw franchise, like, I just watched part 4 like you did for 94. Like, that movie is so fucking bad, dude.
It is bad.
Like, I don't think you, like, no matter what, this next one's going to be better than that.
Yeah. You know, like,
so
people's arguments are like, you know, it's you know, it's the writer redoing it, and he just wanted to make it a little bit more over the top. But I mean, it's ridiculous though. It's straight satire, and it's just like, I mean, the acting in the movie is so, it's just, honestly, dude, it gets on my last nerve, to be honest. Like, everybody in that film.
I think Matthew McConaughey is pretty good.
I know his character's meant to be over the top and stuff, but there's even points in that where McConaughey is just like, holy fuck, dude. Like, it gets to the point where he's even repeating one-liners from Dazed and Confused. Shit. It's just like, oh my god. Like, I don't know how.
Yeah, but this came out before Dazed and Confused, right?
No, it came out. No, it was actually filmed even after. Dazed and Confused was filmed it came out in 93.
Yeah,
it came out, but they filmed it in like 92, right? So it's actually quite a bit older.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one, I think it came out in 94 originally, but I think it got released in 97 or something like that.
Technically, it only did like a festival in 94. It didn't come out until 99.
Well, I thought the original theatricals were in 97, and that was the big controversy too, because by 97, of course, Matthew McConaughey,
maybe it was 97,
was already pretty famous and shit, and they didn't want their faces promoting the movie that was getting theatricals and stuff. There was all that thing. It was kind of funny, because
there was actually a lawsuit.
Yeah, Renee Zellweger
Factory removing McConaughey's face on the cover.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Remember that they had the cover with him and Renee Zellweger, and then they.
And it was a big thing because Renee Zellweger,
it wasn't McConaughey, it was his like agents.
Yeah, well, the agent represented both of them.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and that was the thing, right? And of course, this movie gets its bigger, wider release a couple years after they'd been famous. Like, go figure, they blew up. And so that's that. And then you get,
dude, that movie is such a mess. There's articles of Kim Henkel in Fangoria from before the movie came out. There's actually a really good video where somebody put all this together on YouTube that I watched after watching the movie. But he was saying that the characters in his movie are like much more like realistic and like grounded compared to the other films in the series.
But like which ones? Like Matthew McConaughey's character is so cartoonish. In fact, everybody's cartoonish in that movie.
Like the guy who, the dude who does the quotes, like the historical quotes.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be Jim Sidow. But he turned it down. So they kind of warped the character a little bit. That originally was supposed to be the cook, which is like fucking weird to think about, because it's like even the opening title scroll is like really weird, because it's like says it acknowledges the sequels, the part 2 and 3, but it basically says like they were unrelated incidents. It's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking about?
They have nothing to do with our Leatherface. That's like another crazy family that has a cook and a dead grandpa at the table, and
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And also I want to say that these two were supposed to be the adoptive family of Leatherface. Like they had kind of found him, because there's the whole plot of like the Illuminati and Vilmer and everybody are killing people for the Illuminati. So it's almost like they brought in Leatherface too to help out with that.
Yeah.
It's just, but they're not actually like related like in the other films. It's just a fucking mess. Like who, in what world?
But they're killing people for the Illuminati for what reason?
To elicit fear, so that the world can be afraid.
But I mean, the thing is, though, if you exploit the murders that much and stuff, like it's not going to continue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just keep killing people forever without like everybody knowing, and there being you're putting a stop to it and shit like that. It's a ridiculous concept. Or you start killing mass quantities of people,
literally
like
stupid.
Authorities are going to step in and be like, "Yo," like they're going to figure that like it's just not going to happen. So it's just such a stupid idea. Right, like incorporating this Illuminati idea, like it just it always made no sense to me. Right, to infuse fear, I'm like, no, it would never. You just couldn't do this. Like you're trying to take this.
It just doesn't belong anywhere in a movie, in a like slasher, in like a backwoods slasher film.
No, like honestly, the last like 20 minutes of this movie is so utterly retarded. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just so poorly written. It's just bad, man.
Like a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, you know what? Chainsaw 4 sucks, but it's like I enjoy it. And then I watched it, and I was like, why do I keep thinking I enjoy this movie? I say that all the time. Then I watch it, and I'm like, this sucks.
And you know what the problem is with the Next Generation too? I always forget every time I watch this movie, which seems to be, I've seen it a few times now, but I always end up watching the director's cut, which is so pointless. It doesn't even add anything. It's just like, it's just scenes of like, dialogue and there's not really any more gore.
The only thing that it adds that's not in the original cut that changes things is there's that scene where Renee Zellweger, whenever Vilmer like grabs her and she like flings away real hard and she's like don't ever touch me or something. Well, that comes off like kind of weird if you don't see the beginning where her stepfather is like abusive and sexual predator.
Yeah,
because that's like the real thing that the director's cut adds, is that subplot with Renee Zellweger,
which again is it doesn't
retarded.
It doesn't even really matter, but yeah. And then the thing is, the Screen Factory release of this too, so the director's cut's in standard definition and it looks like trash too. So I mean, if you're ever just gonna watch, just watch the regular cut in high def, which is a decent transfer.
I kind of like when they're like that though. Well, not this. Is the whole thing in standard def, or just
the inserts?
No. I think it's just the scenes.
No. The whole thing's in standard def. It says right on the case. It says, and the director's cut in standard definition. So, but I brought this up before. I said, why didn't they do it like a lot of other releases? Remember with the My Bloody Valentine, they remastered the whole movie, but then they obviously the cut material you can tell. But I think with the new Bloody Valentine, they really did a good job of remastering that cut. Scenes, man, it really does. Like, remember the original release of it where you could really tell what was cut and stuff? In the Screen Factory, they mastered it so well you can't even tell where the cuts are, even though you know where they are.
Silent Night, Deadly Night as well.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they didn't do it this one. Remaster the director's cut, but if you couldn't get good quality on the cut stuff, you know, you could at least you can tell where it is and stuff. But at least put the effort into putting it into HD because the thing's in standard def.
I kind of like when there's a quality drop in the uncut footage because then you get to see
as
like,
long as the whole movie's in high def,
and you're like, wow. Yeah, there was a lot that like this movie is so much better. Like My Bloody Valentine, I watched it in the theater recently, like I don't know, 2 years ago or something, and it was the standard cut. It wasn't the uncut version, and I was like, wow, man, like this is probably one of the biggest differences in movies is the uncut versus the standard cut for My Bloody Valentine because it is such a better movie with the uncut. Like there's like no gore in the other cut.
They cut
so
out 90% of the gore, and that's what happened with the original release. Is like it just got nailed with the fucking certificates. They're like, well, you got to cut this out, and that's one of the most chopped movies like ever. I think, man, like it changes the complexity. It's like minutes and minutes of gore.
The original actor died this past week.
Yeah, that's right.
R.I.P. Yo.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like I kind of like being able to see like what was cut out. It's a neat, an unintended cool feature.
Yeah,
but I don't know why they would do the whole fucking thing in standard def. That's fucking stupid.
I know because
at least like just insert the stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why didn't they? Because they remastered the theatrical in high def, so just use that and insert the cut material. Right?
Yeah, I just feel like Scream Factory never goes the extra mile on anything they do.
That's why Vinegar Syndrome's good.
They just really, it just didn't make any sense to me. It comes off as being pretty lazy, for sure. Considering you have a high def transfer.
Nothing they do, it always feels like they do the bare minimum of like, while Vinegar Syndrome and other companies like try to do the maximum. You know what I mean? Like, I was really bummed when like, they announced Cursed and everybody's like, holy shit, we're getting like the other version or something.
Yeah, it's a standard
and it's
one.
like, nope. And it's like, well, they have the unrated version on there, but that's not what that is, you know?
Right.
But it's like, they don't even say on the feature, like, they're not even like, oh, but like, we got all the footage as a feature. Cause I think that the problem, like one of the problems is that Craven Cut the ending of it was never completed. But it's like, I know people would still be interested to see the rest of the footage.
I mean, I would be interested to see that footage for sure, but I don't think it's going to change my mind on the movie because I think Curse came out in 2005, right? So I rewatched it for the 05 top 10 show, and honestly, man, it's a pretty bad movie. It's not a good Craven movie. It's
not bad. Me and Dave both liked it.
I'm not a fan, dude. I was. Yeah.
Oh, Lipstick comes out next week.
So when they announced that for Scream Factory, I was like, oh, really? You gotta be shitting.
That's one I was kind of excited for them to announce.
Well, you know, I've kind of said this with Scream Factory before, going back to like, I mean, obviously Scream Factory has the worst quality control in the world because they have to recall so many of their discs. Like all the time the shit gets out. I don't know how it ever passes. We all know that. It happens way too often. But I think one of the major reasons why Scream Factory doesn't seem like they're going the extra step, the extra mile, like, you know, like the Severance and Vinegar Syndromes and Arrows and things like that, is that they release so many movies. Like it's, you have the Scream Factory line, then you have the Shout Factory line, and they release so many movies every month, you know, and I just don't think they have the ability to go that extra mile in some of these releases because they're putting out like, you know, 15 movies a month kind of thing. It's a lot of work, right? But I'm not trying to make excuses for them. I just think that's my theory with Scream Factory is like, if you look at other companies, they're not releasing as many movies as Scream Factory is at all. Like nobody's releasing that many movies. So
yeah, I mean, they did slow down from what they used to be doing. Yeah. Remember like back in like,
definitely on the Scream line,
like 9 Scream Factory alone titles
on the Scream line. They've slowed down, but they've also upped on the Shout lines. There's a lot of films that are being released on the Shout lines, like Shout Select, and then they release a bunch of just Shout Factory releases and stuff. If you look at the monthly releases, you know, it's upwards over 12 to 15 every month. It might be just 2 or 3 Scream Factory releases, which is fine with me. And but then there's just
February's are awesome.
Yeah, no, this month this is one of the biggest months.
Alligator 2,
The Howling, Lipstick.
Well, the last like 4 or 5 months, they've only had a couple here and there. It's been pretty slow, but this month they just went fucking ape shit with the releases. So hard on.
I actually forgot to order the Howling.
Some really good ones though, man.
Comes out next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Guess I better order it.
It's $28.99.
Ugh. These 4Ks are so like hard to keep up with, but I know that like I was a little disappointed with the Vinegar Syndrome lineup this February. Still ordered it, but
yeah, I mean it's a slower. I mean they just came off a huge one too, right? You got to remember. But what were the titles again for this month? There was
I know Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah, which I'm very excited for. I love that movie.
I've never even seen that. Remember Severin announced that as under the Severin Kids line or something?
I do remember that.
Yeah, and then they canceled it because Vinegar Syndrome, and everyone knew it was Vinegar Syndrome that was putting it out. Yeah.
Beware Children at Play,
which is a cool upgrade from Troma.
Sister.
I don't know what that is. And Wolfpack is one of the new VSAs, which is I don't know about. I don't know it. But I love the VSA line, man. So far, like out of the first 20 releases, there's some fucking gems in there, man. Like total.
I only have like 2, I think, of the VSA.
Yeah,
I didn't even know the VSA existed, and then it was already in the like 15s.
Oh, shitty, man, because those things all sold out, man.
They're expensive.
Yeah, it's a cool line. It mixes it up.
I actually
it's got different
don't
genres.
like the bottom loading case, honestly, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they're a little bit.
Here's why I don't like it. Because if you pull the case, the disc out, like the keep case, and you let the shell or the fucking slipcover sit around for a little bit, it actually like closes a little bit, and then when you go to put it back in there, it gets the plastic around the keep case gets caught on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really hard to get it in.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, the side loaders are definitely a better design.
Hard box, man.
Definitely a better design, but
I want another hard box. They haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, well, they only have 3 of them, right?
The VS 2.
Oh yeah, they did.
Beastmaster and.
Oh, that line.
I wish they would do another one of those.
Yeah, those are cool.
Oh yeah, the 6-string samurai and Beastmaster. I was thinking the other line where they have their own label, like Vinegar Syndrome's label. So they did New York Ninja and Curfew is out on that one. I think. Not Curfew. Yeah. I mean, not Curfew.
Censor.
Sorry, I was looking at Curfew. Yeah. So I think that's going to be more of like modern stuff on that line. Hence Censor, and obviously New York Ninja is something that they put together, which was such a cool release. It's such a cool release.
I showed in 35 here last weekend.
Yeah, it's such a fun, like what they did with it's so much fun. And I like the fact that all the voices that they used for New York Ninja were like, people of movies that they've released and stuff, like Dawn the Dragon Wilson and Cynthia Rothrock, and it's fucking cool, man. I love how they got all those voices in there. It's pretty rad. So
yeah, that was an interesting little story about that movie. I thought that was cool.
Oh, I loved it. It's so much fun.
I know that, like, I don't know.
Kind of reminded me of like Dangerous Men's story a little bit.
It does. Even like this is a better movie. The Dangerous Men is utterly one of the most. It's pure cinematic shit. But it's like so fun to watch, man. Like it's unbelievable how serious the director was about making Dangerous Men, and like, this was the end product. You know the part where Jared, do you know the story with the car? You remember the scene in the movie? Yeah,
I haven't seen it since Draft House.
Okay, well, do you remember the part where basically they push a car over a cliff? Like they really okay. So, anyways, the director had borrowed his daughter's car. And he basically told her that she was never going to see it again. She's like, what do you mean? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she never saw the car again because that was her car that they pushed over the cliff. She never knew what happened to the car until she saw the final product, like all those years later, that he'd pushed it over the cliff and blew it up.
That's ridiculous.
That's classic filmmaking, man.
That's commitment.
But I love the interviews with this guy. Like, this guy is so serious about his movies, and it's hilarious. And that's what I love about Dangerous Men is that, like it wasn't made to be shitty. It was meant to be good, and it just came out really bad.
It's like Ed Wood.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They were trying to do good movies, but they just came out really sloppy and bad. And unintentionally hilarious, but yeah, the story is really interesting. I think everyone should check that out. It's kind of like Miami Connection, same thing. You know, it's meant to be a good movie, but it's really goofy and you know, poor, but it's just so entertaining. Like, it's like the best triple feature ever right there. But yeah, I did watch Fortress of America. That shit was hilarious.
A little long for my liking, but I actually liked Curfew too, honestly.
Oh man,
Curfew was a little weird one. I never even heard of that one.
I have the VHS still, actually.
Yeah, it was. I watched I watched all the special features on both of those releases, and it was pretty interesting how that movie came about. And Fortress of America is a little fucking ridiculous, because the director of Fortress of America did a couple films with Troma.
Yeah, I know.
But
he did Nukem 3. Nukem High 3, yeah. I know for sure, which I actually just rewatched for 94.
94.
I think it's like such a stupid, I love it, so much fun. It's so stupid.
It's so funny though, because like anytime someone tells a story of Lloyd, it's always like hilarious. Like he's like, yeah, so you know, I went to the offices in New York, and you know, I tried to get a meeting with Lloyd, and I was like, hey, I got this idea for this movie with these like you know, this militia or whatever the hell, and you know, they kill people out in the woods. And he's like, all right, well, get on it.
Yeah, right. And Coffin is he's so funny, dude. Like, I actually popped in the Blu-ray of Surf Nazis Must Die last night, and I actually only got about 10 minutes, and I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but I just got the Blu-ray in. So, but you know how like Kaufman does his intros before the movie and stuff like that. It's one thing I've always loved about Lloyd, is that he does put in the effort of doing this for like every single release. It's pretty funny. But so he obviously recorded this a while ago while there was still like I don't know, man, like under lockdown or whatever. So he's obviously in his backyard, and he's giving his little intro for Surf Nazis, and he's like, yeah, and Surf Nazis Must Die from so and so year, starring a big fat black woman, you know, 20-something years way before the Me Too movement. I'm just like, what the fuck? And I burst out laughing. I was like, did he just fucking say that? And then he's like, I'm so fucking tired of being locked down and in the backyard, and there's all this COVID shit, and he's just going on. And then he's like, I need to swim. And he jumps in the pool. It's fucking hilarious, man.
Lloyd's
he's so good, man.
He's way better than Charlie Mann.
Oh my god, he's so entertaining. Like the shit that he says sometimes, and oh man, it's so entertaining.
Dude,
those releases are worth it just for the intros. Even if the movie sucks, man, just watch it for the intro. It's good stuff.
Him on Joe Bob was when they did what the fuck was that movie called? The Troma War.
Yeah.
When he was on there, Troma's War. When he was on there, dude, he was so good on there, and just like an amazing guest. I love that episode. But like the Troma and Lloyd and just like the whole thing is just hilarious to me, how they made movies and stuff like that.
They put out
dude.
so much movies, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's funny. Go on and make it. Come on.
Yeah, he's like, all right, go, what are you waiting on? Go make it. And they also talked about how they got like, because obviously one of the biggest parts of the budget in low budget film is the film, right? The 35 millimeter.
Yeah, right. So
instead of buying like 30 foot or whatever the standard feet came in as, it was probably more than that, but they would buy, like, whenever movies finished shooting, if they had leftover film, they would send it back to the thing and get like a little discount or something. Yeah. So Lloyd and them would buy these films.
These half-used reels and stuff, right?
Yeah, but it was like sections, so like they could only shoot for like 3 minutes instead of like 10. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like so that but they paid 10 cents a foot instead of $1 a foot.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like funny stories like that. But that's what's so fun about like low budget filmmaking back in the day, is you had to be more creative, whereas now you just basically
shoot everything.
As much as you
shoot everything, and that's why these indie films got so damn long, because all these people are like, I shot it, I'm going to use it, kind of thing, right? Yeah, right. Like back in the day, they were very careful with what they shot and stuff, and then we kind of used it, you know, hence for the shorter films and stuff. But But that's pretty funny. That's very crafty of Kaufman, but very Troma.
He's a Jew. He has to save a buck.
Actually, he even brings up that too when he's talking about surf Nazis. He says something about, us Jews, we always got to be worried about those Nazis, especially those surf Nazis, and they must die. But we died too. And he's just going on, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's hilarious. Oh, he's great.
He even does one for like screenplay. He does them for like the most random movies. It's funny.
Oh, I know.
He's the best. Lloyd's a treasure. It's going to be sad if he ever passes away.
Yeah, and I thought the transfer, I only watched the first 15-20 minutes of it, and I thought the transfer was pretty good, so it's nice to have a nice upgrade of surf Nazis. I never picked up. I think 88 Films released a Blu-ray of it. I think they did, but yeah, never grabbed it. Did you guys get copies of it to review?
I requested it. It hasn't
What
showed
was
up
it?
yet.
Surf Nazis Must Die. I get the emails from MVD all the time, but I never request anything because they won't. They never send them to me.
I never know. Oh, did Phantom of the Mall come back in print?
Well, they released a standard version. Probably
I missed out on that.
I got it.
I actually bought one of those for Dylan. Actually, yeah, they'll release a standard edition. But.
Well, anyway, I didn't fucking. No, I don't think I requested it. I don't know. I haven't been able to get any mail that goes to my house because I've been out here. But like I got my January package because I shipped it here, but I still haven't even got to open my November package.
Jesus,
so,
dude.
Like I still haven't even got my Ebola syndrome, dude. It's such ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
Where is it? At your place?
House. Yeah, it's in my house. So it's just like, and the problem, like I know.
So it's gonna be like Christmas going home.
I thought I had a copy of what was the new Blue Underground? Jeremy, you reviewed it.
Toolbox Murders.
Oh,
Toolbox Murders. I'm pretty sure I got that too, but I haven't had a chance to get it, so I'm like bummed.
I should actually pick that up. I never even upgraded it to Blu-ray. I still have the Blue Underground DVD.
I have the Blu-ray. There's a lot of new features on the 4K that's not on the Blu-ray, so it's kind of worth it.
Yeah. Q.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's gonna be
the lowest rated Super Bowl ever.
I honestly, we'll talk football here. I think that it's definitely probably not gonna be one of the more popular ones considering who's playing in it. But I think it's going to go one of two ways. I think it's either going to be a huge blowout and the Rams walk all over the Bengals.
Not happening.
Or it's actually going to be a game. But who knows?
Bengals are going to win.
You think?
I think the Bengals are going to take an early lead and Matt Stafford's going to have to fight back into it.
Yeah,
I just feel like the momentum is like so on the Bengals side right now.
Yeah, I just can't see the Bengals winning this game, man. I just think the Rams are better defensively, and I think it might come down to that. Both quarterbacks, I mean, they can do what they can do, but I mean, it's going to be a defensive game, I think.
Yeah, the big knock on Stafford is just all the picks, man. Like, he threw a lot of picks this season.
He led the NFL. It's crazy. Yeah. It's a crazy stat to be in the Super Bowl. How many quarterbacks led the regular season in picks and made the Super Bowl and won, maybe? Like, that's
probably Ben.
Ben was known for his picks too, but it's probably a very uncommon stat to make it this far in the game with throwing that many picks. Pretty unusual. But I don't know. It's a curious game. I'm just not happy about football right now. Still.
You still haven't woke up yet?
No, it's just unbelievable, man. But I
saw a stat the other day. It was like Tom Brady has won 12.6% of all Super Bowls, and it's just like, this is insane. This is just crazy. And then I saw another
more than that.
Oh, the Bills one is so stupid.
He has to be in 20%.
I saw another stat that said if you split Tom Brady's career in half from 2001 to 2011 and then 2011 to 2022, he has the stats to make the Hall of Fame twice. It's like 3 Super Bowl wins in the first half, 4 in the second.
Well, it's just ridiculous. It's crazy because he won 7 and he lost 4 or 3. Did he play in 10 or 11?
He lost 2 to the Giants, 1 to the Eagles, and
almost lost one to fucking Falcons.
And almost did he lose another one?
I think he played in 11
Is it
Super
just the
Bowls
three?
and won 7. I could be wrong. Maybe he played in 10 and won 7. Maybe he was 7-3. I don't know. But even though he played in, say he 10 or 11, like, dude, that
That's a
percentage
fourth almost.
of Super Bowls he played in just himself in the history of the NFL is crazy.
Yeah, that's why I used to go.
It's just unbelievable. Like,
It's
that's
not even a goddamn
that stat against the Bills is disgusting.
conversation anymore.
He was 33
Yeah, what? 3 games.
33-3 against the Bills in his career. Like, that's why.
That's fucking sickening.
And people are like, oh, like, I fucking hated Tom Brady for so long because he was literally, like, public enemy number 1 to me.
It's always a loss when you play him.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's fucking just incredible to play in the same division as
there
someone
was
kicking ass all the
10
time.
Super Bowl appearances.
So he was 7-3.
Two to the Giants. Well, dude, could you imagine if he never lost the first one? Was it the first one? The 16-0 season to the Giants? Like,
the
dude,
bubblegum
imagine
catch,
that.
Velcro helmet catch.
Yeah, that was crazy because the Giants came back in that game too, didn't they? And won.
Both of them. They came back in both of them.
It's just crazy. I can't believe they lost. The Giants shouldn't have won that Super Bowl that year. The Patriots should have been perfect that year.
Well,
that was
that
was so crazy. That was probably the worst loss he had out of the 3. Was that one right there? Ruined the perfect season, but they were the heavy favorites. They were clearly the better team. They just shit the bed in that game, man. Like,
yeah, but the Chiefs shit the bed last week, so
yeah, the Chiefs shit the bed a lot though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy the Chiefs shit the bed.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm liking this that they're very inconsistent when it comes to like winning and losing, and it's awesome. It's good for the Bills for next year, I guess.
Well, when they won their first Super Bowl, I was so excited for them. Like, not their first, but their first with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I'm sick of them. I don't want to. I hate when other teams turn into a dynasty.
I just feel like it's going to be Allen and Mahomes here facing off again next year, and I don't know, man. Got to get some redemption.
Yeah, well, you guys need to get over the hump.
My God, 2 years in a row now. Like, and this is one of the worst ones though. Like, honestly, I mean, I've lost Super Bowls. I didn't feel this much pain.
Yeah, this Bills team is much better than last year's Bills team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's why it's frustrating. That's why it's frustrating, dude.
It is fucking frustrating, man.
And then the Bengals won, which much hurt even more.
I know. It actually made me ill when the Bengals. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Well, to me, the Bengals being successful does one thing for me. It makes me laugh even harder at the Browns because all these fucking Browns fans come out of the woodwork like, oh, you guys are losing Ben. Get used to losing to us every year. Like, you're gonna be miserable for the next like 10 years without Ben. And I'm like, what did you guys do? Nothing. You beat us one time in a playoff game, and then you were almost bottom of the division this year. Didn't even make the playoffs, and now the Bengals, who you guys
won
are
2
Baker
games the year
Mayfield's
before.
Yeah, and it's like now the fucking Bengals are the fucking team to beat, dude.
That's a crazy stat, though, man. That's a crazy stat. 2 years ago, they won 2 games, worst team in the NFL, and 2 years later, they're in the Super Bowl. Like, that's quite a change, man. Turnaround.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
Huge change. I mean, Joe Burrow seems fucking legit, dude. Like, I mean, the dude seems good. Like a stud. Whereas I've always been sort of hesitant on the love for Baker Mayfield. I've always kind of thought he was overpraised. And look at the stat of Odell Beckham Jr. I saw it earlier today. It was like it showed his catches, touchdowns, and receiving yards. In his first like 8 games with the Browns, and then his games with Matthew Stafford and the Rams, it's like night and fucking day, dude.
Yeah,
like 8 touchdowns in like 6 games or something versus 0 and 8 with Baker Mayfield. So I mean,
the Browns are just destined to lose,
like
man.
The Browns being the Browns.
I mean, the Browns. Same
they're
color
like the
as
Bears.
poop.
They're always going to be losers.
It's just the same color as poop.
Bears have
the
way
Cleveland
more
is just going to be. They were destined to be shitty with a name like the Browns. It's like, but yeah, Baker Mayfield is like, man, dude, that guy he's so overrated, man. It's so clear as day.
Did you hear about the commies?
The what?
The Washington commies.
Commanders.
Yeah, the commies.
The Washington Commies? Is that what they're changing their
That's
name to?
what everybody's calling them.
The Commanders? They're called the Commanders?
Yeah. Yeah, is that not the most fucking garbage name ever, dude?
Yeah, they should have just kept the Washington football team.
Yeah, actually, that does sound. That actually does sound better.
I preferred that.
No,
But
the worst one is
I
what
thought the
Cleveland.
Washington Red Tails sounded good. The Red Tails, because the Red Tails were like a primarily African American fighter pilots in World War II.
Yeah.
It's like that's perfect.
Oh, I didn't
get
know
rid
that.
of one racist name by honoring
Another racist.
another race. You know what I mean?
I
That would
actually
have been
didn't know that.
awesome. It
I
sounds
didn't know
kind of
that.
cool.
No, what did
Yeah,
what did the Cleveland Indians change their name to? The Cleveland
Guardians.
Guardians. That is horrible.
I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, that's a horrible name. That sounds like a fucking college football team name. I don't know. It just doesn't sound.
No, you know what it sounds like is a fucking T-ball team.
Yeah, the Guardians.
Dude, this is horrible.
Oh man, it's so bad.
Cancel culture, bro.
Like how much money? You have all these brilliant minds, and you
But
come
their
up
logo's
with the fucking
so-
commies.
Like Cleveland's logo was so iconic and stuff. Like man, it's just all gone. Like
Indians.
And you know everybody's gonna still wear the Chief no matter what happens, so it's just like
yeah, but I mean, their merch sales are going to go right down. Guardians, seriously? Like, what? Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, fuck off! It's so stupid. So stupid. I feel sorry for the guy that does the drum beat, who hits the drum at the Cleveland games. Man, he's been doing that shit for like 35 years, and now he's like, just can't do it. Sucks. So iconic.
Like, how did they settle on fucking Commanders?
because they're
just
the click
keep it-
commanders.
Keep it as the football team, man. I got used to it.
I just don't understand, bro. There's so many people. This is a like millions of dollar organization, and you're telling me not one person was like, what if everybody starts referring to us as the commies? Like, nobody thought of that. Like, come on, everybody. And then the name comes out, and like literally all over social media, it's like Washington commies, and it's like everybody's calling them the fucking commies. This is ridiculous.
Dude, guys are gonna request trades just to get off that team, man. I don't want to be a commie.
They're fucking.
That's not cool.
See,
Yeah.
Washington might be one of the worst football teams right now because, and I mean like organizations, because they actually had success. Like, they did well in their franchise.
Maybe they got
and
the same
they've just
people.
been garbage.
Maybe they got the same people that are doing quality control for Screen Factory working for them too, and they never thought it through. You know,
Right,
The
exactly.
Commanders.
I'm
like,
so tired of these replacement discs, though. But speaking of
It's
replacement
annoying.
discs, Vinegar Syndrome is by far like the best company when it comes to that. They're like, oh, we fucked up. No need to even ask us anything because we're just gonna send you the replacement disc.
yeah, when you order the like, I just got the replacement. Like, I was like, oh yeah, fuck, there was one for the
Flesh for
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, I opened up my package and I was like, nice, I forgot about that. They're the best. The fucking best.
Yep.
Like, you know, these companies where you got to go and fill out a whole form and you got to like tell them what you had for
Show a
breakfast
proof of
and
purchase
you got to
and
show them
shit.
like medical reports and shit like that. It's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck am I doing here? Like, I just want a replacement disc, bro. So, but yeah, no, Vinegar Syndrome definitely has that on point.
Yep. Vincent is the shit.
Vincent is the shit for show. For show. For show. Yeah, is that it? Should we move this along? Or do we have any, you got any house clean? You got anything to say about the show?
Shit, I don't think so. Oh, I just wanted to say to the listeners of last week's or last show that we put out, this Serbian film show, very, very good comments. I didn't see anything that was like, you guys are fucking like child porn and stuff. No weird stuff like that. And also people were giving us great suggestions on other shows to do, like the top 10 Stephen King, which I think would be fucking really hard to do because there's so many great Stephen King movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so hard to limit it to 10, dude. I feel so bad.
That's actually probably one of the first top 10 shows that we should do, considering we've never actually even done. Well, I mean, we have done minor Stephen King shows. We did the Carrie franchise. We've done It one or the
Pet
first
Sematary.
one. Pet Sematary. We have reviewed a lot of Stephen King movies, but we've never actually specifically called like a Stephen King director spotlight or whatever. But a top 10, that would be kind of cool because then we could just really kind of, you know, put a lot more in there. And so cover a couple more ground. So yeah, that would be a fun one to do. But like, yeah, like, I mean, thanks
and
for
Jeremy could even do that.
the suggestions, man. We're really good. We're really good. Like, you know, Yeah, there was a lot. I can't remember them. There was one about Golden Age slashers, which would be kind of cool. Like be very specific about 80s slashers and so on and so on. So, but yeah, I was actually mentioning that to Jeremy before I think you got on about a Serbian film, and I was quite surprised at the lack of hate and, you know, ridiculous comments. Like, I was expecting to get the same shit that I had years ago about being called a pedophile for liking this movie and just so on, just all the regular shit that comes along with defending a Serbian film or just acknowledging its existence and stuff. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of that, and I was quite surprised. But yeah, there were some good conversations and things like that. So, but yeah, I like the top 10, so that would be something that we should probably dig into soon. Although we do have another top 10 show coming up, which is the 94 show. It's going to be not too soon, but it's sooner than later. So
yeah, maybe we'll do it after that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not overly that. I mean, there's a lot of Stephen King movies, but I mean, I don't think it would be overly that hard to prep for it, to be honest.
No, it wouldn't be. It would be pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah.
But I do have a little thing I wanted to just read off, like a little knowledge type thing, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Or do you have something?
Nope.
Okay, so we were talking about like 2022 movies. So here's a list from Bloody Disgusting of 34 horror movies we can't wait to see in 2022. So Scream was on there, which we've all already seen. The next title on there is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which
that's right. You said it right.
Comes out next week, I believe, or 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from now, 18th. Studio 666.
It's the Foo Fighters movie.
Which is that Foo Fighters movie.
That's getting a wide release.
Yeah.
What is it like? Is it just a biopic?
No, it's like a...
it's weird.
They go to make an album, and then the house possesses Dave Grohl's character. It's very meta, kind of like Tenacious D.
Oh, so they play themselves, and then it's like it's a fictive. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
kind of a weird thing, honestly.
Yeah. Huh.
March 17th, Unwelcome, which it looks like some sort of like pregnancy thing, from the director of Grabbers, the Irish film.
Oh, that movie is so much fun. Fucking so much fun.
This one here, I'm actually really looking forward to. March 18th, X, which is the new Ty West film set in 1979, also starring Kid Cudi.
What?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
So what's it's called X? What's the storyline?
These people go and make a porno in the country, and they go to this house, and it's kind of like Texas Chainsaw inspired.
Oh, it's like backwoods shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's set in 79. Yeah. It looks pretty cool. Morbius, which is like the Marvel Spider-Man spinoff. April 1st on that one. You Won't Be Alone. That's also April 1st. Don't really know much about that. It's a period piece. The Northman, April 22nd. Now that's something I'm really excited for.
It's going to be in Dolby too. It's going to be great.
Robert Edgar's epic Viking revenge film.
That looks cool.
Come on, man. Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, William Dafoe.
Wow, that cast is nuts. Like that's
like
big boy shit right there.
It looks like his biggest movie. Like he actually got like a huge budget. So
I mean, even to get Nicole Kidman in them, like that's like wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's one I've been looking forward to. I didn't realize the cast, but I was like, man, it was Vikings, and I was like, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, looks nuts. Hatching, April 29th on that one. 12-year-old gymnast finds a strange egg. It looks crazy. It's IFC Midnight on that one. 65, May 13th, which is, I believe, Sam Raimi produced, or is it directed? I don't even know.
No, he's doing the Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange movie.
Jurassic World Dominion, June 10th. The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke.
I can't wait for that.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke's
Scott Derrickson film.
Ethan Hawke's all over the horror this year. Crazy.
Yeah, it's Joe Hill story. So
I think it looks good. It's Blumhouse. It's rated R.
Stephen King's son.
Yep. Nope from Jordan Peele, July 22nd. So there's some interesting stuff.
Shot on IMAX. It's gonna be pretty sweet. It was shot by Nolan. That movie was shot by Nolan's DP, so it should look pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Beast, August 29th. Not sure what that one is. And then Dark Harvest, September 9th, which is set in 1963 based on a horror novel called Dark Harvest.
My God, how many movies can you have with the title Dark Harvest? Like, Google it right now.
Better than Dark Harvest 2, though.
There's got to be like 30 Dark Harvest killer scarecrow movies. There's fucking that shot on
Dark
video.
Harvest 2 is like fucking...
There's so many movies called Dark Harvest. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. This one I'm pretty excited for. Salem's Lot, September 9th.
That's Blumhouse.
They're remaking Salem's Lot?
They're remaking Firestarter, too.
Wow. I actually just watched the original Salem's Lot not too long ago again. All 3 hours of it. I really like it.
Toby Hooper's best film.
It is actually one of his best movies for sure. It's quite entertaining, man. For a 3 hour movie, rips by.
Yeah, this one stars Florence Pugh. Don't Worry, Darling, September 23rd. So October 14th,
the Orphan
Halloween
prequel. Where the
ends.
hell's that shit?
Violent Night, December 2nd.
Violent Night, Christmas movie?
I actually, I think so.
Wow.
Yep.
Violent Night in December. Yeah.
Violent Night. I wonder, like, when they're going to run out of puns for Christmas.
Night.
Yeah. This one I'm actually really interested in. Prey from summer 2022, which is the next Predator film. Now, the poster looks really cool. It shows like a Native American with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And then like the Predator in the shadows. Yeah, it's like set 300 years in the past. So that's kind of cool.
I didn't know about that one.
That makes me feel like it's more like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator, where it's like the survival type thing. So that's kind of interesting.
Add that one to the roundup.
Right, exactly.
Jesus.
Hocus Pocus 2 fall.
Well, there's two for the roundup. Did we do the new one from? I don't remember what we did.
Yes,
I think that's when we did the Predator franchise. Is when the new one came out.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Bones and All, which I don't know what that really is. Evil Dead Rise, which has, I believe, finished filming. That's an apartment, like LA apartment complex Evil Dead film. That sounds like Demons 2, honestly.
Right.
But,
Since you said apartment, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Which is intriguing to me because I love those settings, so that's awesome. So
yeah, it is a really intriguing setting. Firestarter, like Jeremy mentioned.
Man, I didn't know that was made.
Where's the Orphan fucking prequel?
Shut the fuck up. How about that?
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
The grandmother.
So I get told to shut the fuck up, and then when I don't talk, I get shit
Well, you
on.
keep saying the same thing.
Well, where is it?
I'm reading a list, dude. I don't know if it's on it or not.
Well, fuck then.
The Grandmother, which is a Paco Plaza, the director of Rec.
Nice.
Movie. The Haunted Mansion. Hellraiser for Hulu, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
The new Hellraiser, which I believe is... did it film already? It might have filmed already. I know the casting came out and Matt or something.
Add it to the roundup list.
Brandon Cronenberg's new movie Infinity Pool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's with Alexander Skarsgård as well. The Innocents. Rob Zombie's The Monsters, which is weird to say.
Is that actually coming Exorcism. Out? Wow.
Yeah, dude, it's filming.
It filmed. It wrapped, I think.
Wow.
Something in the Dirt, which I don't know what that is. Time Cut, which is from
you don't know shit, dude.
The director of Freaky.
I don't pay attention to the news, Jeremy, on purpose.
I know.
Wendell and Wild, and that's it. So the Orphan First Kill is not on that list, but I'm not sure if it was. Did it get delayed or did they film? Like, I don't know.
It's done.
Is it done? Okay,
is it not the same girl playing?
It is the same girl.
That is so bizarre.
She looks the same.
It's so bizarre. I know I read that recently and I was like, really? She's playing the same character? Oh, that's just blew my mind. It's crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of years after, too.
And then I know that there's obviously going to be like a ton of other movies we don't know about.
Yeah.
Also, Scream 6 got greenlit for 2023. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting ones on that list and stuff. I mean, not all of them. I guess we'll see how this year pans out, but I mean, you know.
It just seems like everything's coming out so much later, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It just seems like the good movies might be
close.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing in like the first quarter of the year. But who knows? Maybe this new Chainsaw movie will be a banger.
Well, I'm just hoping at this point some of those movies we mentioned are great, because there's definitely some talented director, like Brandon Cronenberg's new movie. Like, there's a lot of people that I would be excited to see, you know. So
what's the storyline on the Jordan Peele movie? What's the Jordan?
Nobody knows.
Oh, nobody. Okay.
Nobody knows. All I know is that the title of the movie is a reference to comments that he receives on his like movie trailers and stuff like that.
What's the name of the movie again?
Nope.
Yeah, so it's literally like a comment on when like they drop the trailer for Us and people are like, nope, like in the comments.
That's hilarious.
So who the fuck knows with that?
That's pretty funny.
The poster's like a giant cloud, so who the hell knows, dude?
Right.
It has to be good if it's shot by that fucking guy, so I don't know.
Well, look good at least, in those narrative-wise, but
yeah.
I mean, Peele's pretty interesting.
I saw the trailer for Ty West's new movie in the theater when I saw Jackass, so maybe it'll be
yeah, it's A24,
like wider released. Yeah.
Oh, it's A24. Okay.
I do love some A24, so
interesting. All right, well, that was a informative list of films for 2022. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair amount.
I forgot to say something though. Where's the Orphan prequel?
Jesus.
It's called Orphan First Kill, you fuck.
Whatever. Well, that's very original. I think I've only heard that title like 17 times, probably.
Name one.
First Blood, First whatever. There's probably more first movies.
Not First Kill.
Close enough that has first something else afterwards.
The First Avenger.
Yeah. All right, well, I mean, we should probably move this along. You guys want to get into some Peter Jackson films? Jeremy apparently has to move his whole room around before we finish. Just do some rearranging with furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, let's take a pause here, and we'll be back with some Peter Jackson reviews. Yeah.
And now, our feature presentation.
Yo, who this?
Yo, Moods, it's your boy, the ill-mannered funky child, calling you to remind you that the featured reviews on this episode contain spoilers.
Aw, yeah, man, that's right, brother. Thanks for the heads up, player. Now go back to being an unproductive asshole.
Fuck you. I tell your listeners to stop being so dumb, silly, sensitive.
Yeah. Alright, so getting into the featured reviews here on episode 221. Peter Jackson Director Spotlight. Yeah. Peter Jackson is probably most famously known for doing the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. But
for King Kong.
and King Kong. But I mean, honestly, that's what Peter Jackson became a household name with the Lord of the Rings movies and stuff. But I think a lot of younger generation probably don't realize that Peter Jackson had an entire different career before he became the super, super infamous and famous director of some of the most popular and beloved movies of all time in those Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. But it's, you know, like, he definitely has had kind of a roller coaster career. I mean, he started out as this low budget independent, you know, horror director, and then just he just turned into something that you would never think that he would.
Yeah.
You know, it's just such an odd transition because, you know,
I think we see that transition from the Frighteners until you start to see that transition a little bit.
But you know,
it's just weird that he went from the Frighteners, like it's like it really is weird because he went from these like low budget splatter films from New Zealand to what did he made that
Heavenly
one
Body.
Well, the thing is though, he got the Frighteners movie, Heavenly Creatures, which I actually watched last night. He basically got the thing, you know, the Frighteners probably because of Heavenly Creatures, because it was so well received, right? I mean, that movie even got thumbs up, you know, 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert and shit like that. It's a good movie. It's based on the real true crime of those 2 teenagers that killed the mom and stuff. But it's like a legitly good movie, right? And you could see that he had a talent for actually doing, you know, serious movies and things like that. But The Frighteners is an interesting movie too, because it was kind of like his stab at, you know, cutting edge technology and stuff, right? They were the first ones to kind of do what they did in The Frighteners and stuff. But yeah, the elevation of films in his early career is it's crazy what he was doing. I mean, Bad Taste is, in my opinion, one of those low budget movies that's kind of a clinic on low budget filmmaking, because, you know, there's some really interesting camera work. He was doing a lot of like handheld and that and stuff, and you just weren't seeing a lot of that camera work in films at that time. But the effects and the
guns too, man.
Like just the time and effort that they put into the effects in Bad Taste is incredible, man. Like the movie.
Yeah, but it took 4 years to make, though.
Right. But I mean, it's the effort. You know what I'm saying? Like you just don't see that a lot in low budget films where there's that much effects and that much going on and stuff. And then I still think like Meet the Feebles is such an ambitious second project in your career, because it's, you know, it's done with puppets and things like that, and it's just such a different type thing. And then of course Dead Alive, but then into Heavenly Creatures, which is you know, it's more of a biopic. You know, it's a biopic on these 2 girls. Really interesting stuff. Which, have you guys ever seen it before?
No, I'm probably gonna watch it now, even though it's like a thriller or drama or whatever.
Yeah, it's a biopic. It's a drama thriller. I mean, it's like I said, it's based on the real murders and stuff. The movie's been done a couple other times, or the story's been tackled in a couple other movies, but it's really well done. Like it's really great. And then of course The Frighteners. But then you get into his second half of his career with Lord of the Rings. He did that trilogy, and then of course did King Kong, which, you know, grew on me. We've reviewed King Kong before. Yep. And The Hobbit and stuff like that. And but yeah, like 2 polar opposite careers. Very, very interesting director. Well,
now he's a documentarian.
Yeah, like he's just a visionary, man. Like he has a vision for what he's doing, and he seems to accomplish that vision very, very well. You know, with the amount of different films that he's done. I just, Peter Jackson has a sense of humor that I love. There's something about New Zealand, like the sense of humor that comes from like Australia and New Zealand and stuff like that. It's very unique. You know, you can almost pinpoint it.
It's just so weird that you watch like I would love to show like a film snob like who doesn't know like Peter Jackson like oh, like, you know, like the guy who won an Oscar for Lord of the Rings, like check out his puppet movie.
Where there's a bunch of puppets
hilarious that like
where there's a bunch of puppets doing crack and having sex.
Academy Award. You know what I mean? Like it's
multiple
like
Academy.
I love that he did, because it shows that like you can start in horror and be like amazing filmmaker and stuff like that, and start in the low budget garbage. And like one thing that kind of made me nervous was like I was hoping that he wasn't one of those filmmakers who totally disowned that early stuff, but it doesn't seem like he is, from what we were reading like with this article about like him restoring his 3 original films from New Zealand. So
well, didn't he say in an interview
he's restoring Heavenly Creatures too?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, and there is a director's cut of that movie that's been released on Blu-ray and stuff, but that's not the version that he likes. He actually likes the normal 99-minute version. There's a 108-minute version, but he prefers the 99. But anyways, but I think he did say in an interview, I don't know when it was, it might have been a few years back or whatever, but that he would sometime, like he would actually go back and make another horror film. You know, not go back and make, but kind of return to his roots and make another horror film.
I would love to see that.
I don't know.
Love to see him do that.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at what he's been doing a lot of documentaries, and And certain things, I know he did those Beatles things, which is actually kind of funny that he's been doing these Beatle miniseries and things like that, because it's actually a whole Beatles. In Bad Taste. Yeah, in Bad Taste, he does the whole Beatles thing. So he kind of almost going back to his roots with that Beatles joke in the original one. But if he ever returned to doing, I think he's doing that Tintin thing too, isn't he?
He did Tintin already.
Okay.
Yeah, Tintin already came out.
Okay.
Like a decade ago.
Yeah, that came out in 2011, bro.
Yeah.
No, The Adventures of Tintin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did that a
came out
decade
in
ago.
2011.
Yeah.
There's another one that The Adventures of Tintin, The Red Rackham Treasure. It's like a sequel to it.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, there's another Tintin thing coming up.
I like
yeah,
their
no,
first
not
Tintin.
not The Adventures of Tintin. I know that but yeah, there's another one coming up.
Him and Spielberg.
But it would be pretty cool for him to actually return to horror. I think that would be pretty interesting to see what he would do. Would he go and try to do like a gore film, or just do something a little more, I hate the term elevated, but just kind of do something, on today's standards or whatever. But it would be interesting to see what he's done, because, you would have a budget.
Yeah.
Right? He would have a budget to do what he could. So I don't know.
What does a 2020s Peter Jackson horror film look like, dude?
Right.
I have no fucking clue, but I want to.
Right, but I think it would be pretty cool for him to tackle something totally different and just like, I don't know.
Much like a Del Toro movie.
Yeah, well, just
him and Del Toro remind me of each other a lot in like different ways, but just like, I don't know.
I could see it being an effects movie, because he's always, took pride in doing effects, obviously, with his first like 4 or 5 movies, and especially The Frighteners too, because it was all cutting edge. And I still think when you watch The Frighteners today, that movie being 26 years old now, the effects are still really good in it. I almost rewatched it just to like refresh my memory on it, because I haven't watched it since we did 96. That was the only time I've ever seen it. I wanted to squeeze it in before we recorded the show, but I just
come out.
I've seen it so many times. I remember it like almost line for like, I saw it in the theater. It was my favorite film in 96. Like I love The Frighteners. It's such a cool movie, but it still like really does hold up well, for considering they're the ones that invented that technology. If you watch a documentary and stuff on it, it was cutting edge. They were really just kind of, inventing things as they were going along, and for the effects and stuff, which is really cool.
What's else interesting about Jackson is, I guess this would have been in like 1989, 90. He wrote a script for Elm Street.
Really?
Yeah.
Seems like everybody wrote a script for Elm Street.
Yeah. So he did a script called Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, The Dream Lover. And his script involved basically, it's kind of interesting because they ended up using some of this for Freddy vs. Jason. I don't know, intentionally or unintentionally. But basically, Freddy Krueger's fear has gone away. Like, nobody is afraid of him anymore. And basically, people started to essentially intentionally go into the dream world to like beat the fuck out of him and like fuck with him, and then they would come back out. It was like they were taking sleeping pills to go in there and bully Freddy Krueger, who was like powerless.
It's actually an interesting idea, because Freddy feeds off your fear. Like if you're not afraid of him, you just kind of reverse that whole role, and then you go in there and he's the fucking the punching bag. That's kind of funny, actually. I like that idea.
Yeah, and eventually he's able to like kill a kid, and then like it just fucking fear
puts the
like
fear
once
back
they
in.
realize Freddy could kill again.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been what Freddy's Dead would have ended up being had they went with him. So
to be
who
honest,
knows? It probably might have been better.
Fucking. I've seen fucking dog shits on the sidewalk that are fucking more appealing than Freddy's Dead. Fuck.
Yeah,
but,
it would have completed that Dream trilogy, right? Like you would have had the Dream Master, Dream Child, and Dream Lover.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Yeah,
but instead we got Freddy's Dead.
We did get Freddy's Dead, unfortunately. Oh man, it just, and that's coming from someone that's favorite franchise. I just can't defend it, man. Can't defend it.
Great graphics.
Oh my god, it's so goofy. It's so silly. It's just silly in a bad way. You're like, oh my god. Okay, so let's go into Bad Taste. From 1987, his debut feature film. Quick little synopsis here. The population of a small town disappears and is replaced by aliens that chase human flesh for their intergalactic fast food chain. Right, so aliens come down to Earth, take over a small town, and start basically using humans for consumption. Yeah. So basically, it follows, I think there's, 5 main characters in the film?
4.
I think there's 4. Well, there's technically 5, right? There's Ozzy, Barry, Derek, Frank, and Guile.
Charity guy.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. So, yeah, these guys are kind of sent to this area to investigate as to why the people are, going missing and stuff like that, and they end up fighting all these aliens and shit, and it's very typical. But it's just ridiculous, man. This movie is so much fun right from the opening scene. It's just the effects in this movie still blow me away at how good they are.
Not that, it's just it's goofy. That's the thing.
But the effects are good. From the scene where the dude's putting his brains back into his head and stuff. That's a pretty good effect, man. But again, Peter Jackson had this sense of humor. He can make these uber gory films, but add in this, this comedy that just worked. But he always managed to gross you out and make you gag. There's one scene in this movie that it's almost as bad as Dead Alive, the dinner scene, or I should say the custard dessert scene.
Yeah,
that's so gross. But in this film, where one of the aliens pukes into this bowl and it's steaming hot green puke and stuff, and he's passing it around, and all the aliens are drinking it. And at this point in the film, one of the guys who is fighting the aliens is actually pretending to be an alien, and he's looking at this bowl that's being passed around. He's like, "Oh my god, I gotta drink this, right?" And it finally gets to him, and he's like, "It's so gross because it's green, but it's
you
chunky."
See Peter Jackson throw it up everywhere.
Yeah, dude, and it's and it's steaming, and he kind of looks around and he drinks it, and then his face kind of goes ugh, and then all of a sudden he enjoys it and he wants some more. I was like, oh my god, it's so gaggable. It's so disgusting.
I just love Peter Jackson in this movie. He's his facial expressions just kill me.
Yeah,
the funniest facial expressions.
I love the fact that he puts himself into the film too. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. But even there's so many scenes in this movie, gore scenes, that I've seen but didn't know it was from this movie because I've never seen this before. So I'm sure. Do you even had some in your intro moods? Maybe.
No, I didn't use any from this film. No.
Yeah, but anyway, I've seen so many like the one where the dude's eating the half head. Yeah. I've seen that so many times. I was always wondered what it was from.
Mm-hmm. When the guy gets his face cut in half. Yeah, that's in a lot of things.
I love when he shoots the dude's head in half, and the body's still kind of walking around, and it's half a head and shit. It looks really good, man.
Yeah,
all the gun stuff looks good too.
It's weird because there's so many
besides the rocket
guns
launcher,
in there.
Right.
You got MP40s. I think there was a Sten, AK, an AK-47. There's just so many weird different eras of guns in there.
Right.
The whole time I'm watching this, because I've always seen the cover to this film, right? The weird fucking elephant man looking alien. And I'm the whole time I'm watching this, I'm where isn't there those weird elephant man looking things in this movie? It's where the fuck are they? And then it's worth the wait because because obviously you don't in the cover you don't see their ass cheeks.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm watching it. I'm this is so fucking.
And it's funny.
Ridiculous.
It's they're glued onto their jeans, so this looks absolutely ridiculous. But
there's so many bad effects, but good effects too. You know what I mean? There's so many good effects in the movie, but there's also cheesy ones.
Yeah.
So it's it's a weird mix of stuff, and even the way that it's shot, kinda, and there's that scene with the cliff where they're on the cliff, right? And like you can tell that it's like just a hill on certain parts, but like how the camera's moving and like the editing and like you can tell they're trying so hard to make it look like this huge cliff and shit like that. But then when the fucking body falls, I'm like, holy shit! Like that looks like really good.
They got some good dummies in this movie.
Yeah,
I didn't even know if it looked real. I was like, there's certain parts of that when it was falling more. I'm like, that's a guy.
Oh, when Derek's body goes flying off the thing and you think he's dead. Yeah. They do a really good job of that, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, I like the camera work in this, man. Some of it's handheld, and it's like, but it's actually shot really well and stuff. And they do a really good job with that cliff because, I mean, honestly, it's low budget, but I mean, even though it's not as steep as it appears to be, it's still like if you fall down that hill, like you're going to be probably in some trouble and shit like that. So even filming and doing those stunts around the edge of the cliff, I still think was pretty daring because there is not a lot of room for error. You know what I'm saying? But, man, that dummy death, though. Well, the presumed dummy death. But that dummy shot.
I think it's like a mix of dummy and person. Like, I don't know. There was, like, if it's all dummy, that is a fucking great dummy. Because there's parts where I'm like, that looks exactly like a person. But, this film allegedly had a $25,000 budget. I mean, that's fucking nothing. That's like the gun problem. 4 years, though.
I mean... The amount of effect, like that's the thing with the difference between this low budget filmmaking.
Movies, though,
right?
Effects like that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like this is shot on film. No, but I mean this is shot on film. I mean $25,000 when you're buying film and making a full.
I know,
movie
but I'm saying like you're talking about the effects, but like most shot on video movies have similar effects.
Yeah, similar. I mean,
I think these are a little better.
But you also got to remember though the difference between like a low budget film like that and this one. A lot of those shot on video films are a lot shorter with a lot less effects. They might have some pretty good effects, but there's a lot less scenes with those effects.
There's so many effects.
There's so much in this one. Like right from the start of the movie to the end, there's 90 minutes of effects in this, man. It's like an effect movie. Like it's quite impressive considering how low budget this is for what they accomplished. Like you have to give them all the credit in the world, man. Like there's a lot of characters.
I mean, there's not really much story in this.
There's no story. It's 4 guys that go out there to investigate and then they just fight aliens. The whole time they're just being attacked and they're fighting back. That's all it is.
Yeah, but they work for AIDS though.
Yeah, they work for AIDS. The Astro Investigation and Defense Services. AIDS. Fucking hilarious, dude.
There's actually quite a few AIDS references.
Yeah,
in these early movies,
and it's funny too because '87, man, it was still very kind of taboo. Yeah, it was still kind of taboo to talk about AIDS and shit.
AIDS are the best.
Oh man, yeah, fucking Derek is like the best character in the movie though. Dude, it's so funny.
I just wish the old guy that's like in
Peter
charge
Jackson
of...
he plays the 2 characters actually.
2 characters.
Yeah.
I just wish the old guy who's like in charge of them all. That's like I could totally picture Dennis Hopper playing that character. It's
my god!
Just like picture that in my head.
Yeah,
dude, this movie, like honestly, like I thought I was gonna not like this movie because I knew a lot about it, and I was like, it just seems like it's gonna be just nothing, you know what I mean? Just some low budget, but it's incredibly fun.
Yeah,
it's a perfect movie too that you could just throw on and watch with not much attention. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those clean the house movies.
It's literally like
like party, like at a party or something. You know what I mean? Like you get together, throw it on because it's so many gore scenes and just ridiculous shit. You don't really need to pay attention.
There's no story. There's like it's just them fighting aliens that are picking or taking humans. Like there's nothing to follow. So it's a perfect beer and popcorn.
Well, they're like
Friends movie.
Yeah,
they're
like trying to eat them though. I think that's like the.
Yeah, well, the dude in the soup, right? With the kid with all the
that's the AIDS guy, or that's
dude, I love that part. They knock out this dude, and he wakes up in this big barrel of like herbs and spices. It's so fucking funny.
Looney Tunes, bro.
It's so
Bugs
ridiculous,
Bunny, man.
You know the thing that always the one thing about this movie that always kind of bugged me a little bit, because I remember when I first watched this film years and years and years ago, like back in the 90s, and like when you rent the movie, you see the cover and it's got like the big-headed alien who's fingering the fucking, you know, and I remember watching this film going, where the fuck is this alien?
Yeah,
like
that's what JP was just saying.
I just said.
Yeah, and then, but I know, I'm just saying that, I'm just saying this is the one thing that actually bugs me, because he shows up about 20 minutes left in the film. Yeah. Like it's kind of funny that it's like the big main feature on the cover and stuff, but there's only really about 20 minutes of footage with the big-headed aliens and shit. But like when they do appear, it gets pretty funny because I love how the house is actually the spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's awesome.
Such a ridiculous movie, but like, what a great first feature. Just to like sort of get your feet wet in filmmaking. Like, you don't have much money. You don't have much. You're not going to be able to make like a big story. So you're like, fuck it, let's just make a splatterfest. And I like Jeremy said, like these are kind of splatter films. They really are, like this and Dead Alive, and even a little bit of Meet the Feebles. And that's like a genre that you don't see a lot of. Especially these days, and it's like it's so refreshing to see all these practical effects, no CGI, and just this, like a little bit of cheesy effects, but still there's so many, but that you can't help but to like it.
Yeah, like the scene where I think it's Derek who's driving the car. Anyways, he hits one of the aliens and splits the body like right in two pieces. That's another good dummy death right there. But
Speaking of that, what's up with that fucking car? Are they like standing up to drive it? Like, I'm looking at it going, what? It looks like they're standing up when they're driving.
No, it's one of those Decker car things that you can sit up in the top shit. He's sitting down in the front. I don't know how he's seen with the cutouts of the Beatles.
Fuck one of those fucking things.
What exactly is the joke with the Beetle faces covering? Is it just
I don't know
for whatever?
I was just wondering, like, how the fuck was he driving? Because it looked like he was standing up.
Like, I never I always thought there was a joke there to why he put the 4 Beatles in the front of the window. But I never knew exactly what the joke. It's just so funny when they're driving around because all you see is like the 4 Beatles. Right? Yeah. It's like you can't even see him driving. I'm like, every time I see that, I'm like, how the fuck is he actually seen what he's doing? But yeah, no, I love the there's like 2 or 3 dummy death scenes in this film.
That is a weird car.
It's a weird car. It looks like he's standing up.
Yeah, I think it's because there's a double, like there's a top part to it too, so it does appear that they're standing, but he is sitting
like
down because when he gets in, you do see him sitting down driving. So I don't know how he's seen, but yeah, it's very strange. But yeah, when he hits that dude and splits him in half, that's pretty fucking funny. Shit makes me laugh out loud, man. It's a funny death.
But I mean.
Where's the restoration? God damn it!
No, and that's the thing too. With especially this and Meet the Feebles. These movies are dying for, especially Meet the Feebles. Honestly, I don't know what the transfer that I ended up seeing online was like pretty dog shit. Honestly,
I watched my DVD, which was put out by Substance, and it's whose Substance is a very low budget, and it's like a VHS transfer and stuff, but. I mean, it's clear. I mean, it's not great, but yeah, Feebles really. I mean, the Bad Taste, I was mentioned to Jeremy, the Bad Taste DVD that came out from Anchor Bay in like 2001. The transfer is honestly really good. Like, it's incredible really how good it looks for DVD quality. But these movies are,
you know what? Bad
desperate
Taste
need.
is actually on Tubi, which is weird.
Oh, really? Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, Tubi kind of downgrades the quality a little bit. But yeah, if you watch
they do 720p, they don't do 1080.
Yeah. So
which is weird.
But yeah, no, it's it does look actually pretty good, I will say.
Meet the Feebles needs it bad though.
Oh, really?
Bad. Well, I know that the only problem with that is I know that it's gonna show more of the flaws and stuff. Yeah. But that might add to the charm. I don't know, because like you can see like a lot of like the puppets like ripped and stuff like that, just like watching it, like in seams and stuff like that. But it might add to. I don't know. I'd be curious to see what a really good transfer looks like on that.
Hopefully, we'll see it before we die.
I know, right? Because we've at least been talking about it for 7 years. I think 7-8 years.
No, man, it hasn't been that long. It's only been since 4K's come out, so it has been. It's probably been like 4 or 5 years.
I feel like he was talking about restoring those since we started this fucking show. Yeah.
You know what the funniest fucking part in this fucking movie is, man? Like, it makes me laugh the hardest. Besides the actual like dummy parts, those just always make me fucking bust out laughing. But when fucking Derek wakes up at the bottom of the cliff, when you find out that he's not dead, and there's a bunch of seagulls on him, and he headbutts the seagull, that shit
and then shits on him.
Instantly fucking kills me laughing because he not only headbutts the seagull, but when they cut to the seagull on the ground, it's like in 19 pieces.
And then it shits in his mouth, right? Or another one shits in his mouth.
Yeah, man. But they show like Like he headbutts it that hard that he explodes the seagull. Oh my god, that shit is so funny. So good, man. There's a lot of funny ass parts like that in this movie. You know what I noticed, man? The accents in this are so thick. Like really, really thick in this. I don't know if they were like overly doing their accents in this movie, because I don't find the other films like they're really that bad. But this one right here, I know it's
this felt like
it's dubbed
more
over
of
though.
Like a I almost feel like it was like more of like a like local like type of accent. You know, like in the UK there's like a ton of different like dialects. Yeah. I felt like this is like thick as fuck.
I thought maybe it had something to do with like maybe the ADR, because I think they pretty much ended up dubbing the whole thing.
Could be
after, and I think it might have just been the way they recorded the ADR and stuff. I don't know. It could be, but it definitely is dubbed though. It's just like it's just a non-stop film. That's what I love about this movie. Like again, going back to low budget filmmaking, and this has always been a problem with low budget films, is that you'll have a couple scenes in a film and most of it's filler. Right? Shot on video movies are the worst for this because they have like $5 budgets. So what they'll do is they'll have a couple scenes with decent gore and they'll fill in the blanks, just run out the time with a bunch of nonsense. This movie really doesn't have any downtime. It's just constantly all the way through.
There's like no downtime in it, and it just goes and goes and goes.
And I love the way it's edited too. Like the fast paced editing and stuff is really cool, man. Like there's a lot of great editing in this, and it's just so much better than it probably should be. Right? On all angles, like actual filmmaking for a debut film. I love what he did with this. It's great. So
yeah, and the I know that like a lot like his. I don't know if all three of them were done like this, but I think in New Zealand back then, the New Zealand like government film commission type thing would like give you money to make movies.
The third one, Dead Alive, at least.
Yeah, no, I think this might be part of that too. I know in Australia the reason why there was so little films made between like 1970 and like the early 90s, because they only used to make so many a year. The government would put the money forward, and they would only have a budget for these many movies. And then of course in the 90s, where there was like no movies produced, they stopped doing that program or whatever the fuck it was, and then they restarted back in the 2000s. But if you look at
that too with the lottery,
if you look at the history of Aussie cinema,
Canada did some of that too. I think
they did that in late 70s, early 80s. It was only for a few years. Australia did it for a lot longer, because if you look at the history of exploitation from 70 to 94, it's like really a couple movies every year. It's not much. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, but I think New Zealand also had the same thing going on, because if you look at the history of New Zealand filmmaking, it's very, very little films outputs in these times. So, but I'm assuming he probably was part of a program like that. But
yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. The other dummy. I remember it. It's the one off the patio. The chef, when he throws the chef off the patio. That's another good. Yeah. So there's 3 pretty good dummy scenes in this film, man. It's just outrageously funny, man. Dude, I don't know. I could probably just go on.
I love how they speak like half English, half other language. Like, throw them in the pod.
Like the aliens act like they're just intoxicated.
Yeah.
It's like it's such a strange.
It's a weird alien take for sure.
It really is, man. They're just like drunk off of human flesh or something like that. It's ridiculous, but it's just nonstop. Like if you've never seen Bad Taste before, you got to do yourself a favor and watch this shit, man. If you like score film, splatter shit, and it's a great movie.
How New Zealand films have like such a unique feel to them too.
Yeah, they really do.
Like even ones made like more modern still have a feel to them.
Housebound feels like it's from New Zealand, right? It just has that. It has that dialogue and the way they say things.
So does Black Sheep.
Yeah, man, they just honestly feel like where they're from, and that's a good thing. That's a really, really fucking good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so.
Yep.
I mean, Australia's like that too. I always feel a lot of their movies kind of like they feel like they're from the region and stuff. And there's quite a bit of Canadian films too. Not so much in like the horror genre. Like there is a few. But there is a lot of other like kind of sub-genre films and stuff like the Fubar films that are so fucking Canadian. Like they're almost stereotypical.
Well, for me, My Bloody Valentine always feels so Canadian.
It does. It really does because of what they're drinking. And I think they even... Well, they used a lot of local actors and stuff, right? So that if you and they say A lot in the East Coast, right? So I think if you're watching it closely, you'll catch some A's and shit because it's so common over there. But yeah, New Zealand, man, great stuff, man, great stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to. I mean, these movies are hard to review because there's really no plot. It's just filmmaking and gore.
That's what I said.
Right?
No, the next one has a plot.
Meet the Feebles has the most plot of all three.
Sure.
Well, the Meet the Feebles is a weird one because it doesn't have like one driving force narrative. It has a bunch of small little narratives within characters and stuff.
It's just a bunch of different characters.
It really does. And everything kind of just comes to a massacre.
At the end.
I mean, we follow a bunch of lunatic characters.
If they tried to shoot that today, it would never happen.
Yeah. Especially today. That's that's a very touchy subject for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so bad taste. Well, JP, you start. You've never seen this one before, so what'd you think?
I'll go ahead and I mean, it doesn't have the deepest story, but it's just so fucking fun, man. It really is. If I rented this as a kid, this would have been something that I would rent often, this would be a in the rotation heavy just because how much gore there is and just how wild and crazy it is. So I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10.
Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Bad taste, like JP said, it doesn't have the most in-depth plot ever, and it's pretty basic, but you could have a good time with it. I definitely think if you have a few people over, you'll probably enjoy it more than if you sit there like a loser like me and watch it by yourself. But I give it a 7. It's good. It's fun.
No way, man. I watch this shit all by myself all the time, and it never ceases to not make me laugh. I piss myself through the whole thing. It's just like one gag after another. It's ridiculous. But the thing I like about the comedy in this, it's not too silly. It's still it's just a different type of comedy, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's an absolute clinic on low budget filmmaking. There's really no budget to this, and what they accomplish is quite truly amazing to me. But it doesn't have to have it. If you're gonna make a gore film, especially a comedy gore film, it doesn't need to be a plot. There doesn't need to be all this craziness going on and stuff like that. I think it's great. 9 out of 10 for myself. I think it's just a insanely fun movie, and that's what it was intended to do, and that's what it gave us. It gave us a lot of fun. So, yeah, Bad Taste. Great movie. And that is from 1987.
Meet the Feebles! Meet the Feebles! We're not your average, ordinary people. Meet the Feebles! Meet the Feebles!
All right, so moving along into 1989 with a film called Meet the Feebles. This is probably the oddest movie Peter Jackson's ever done.
Oh, for sure.
It's very ambitious. I always felt like anybody that's making these type of movies with a low budget is overly ambitious. It's been done before.
Yeah, fucking such a pain in the ass to actually make.
Absolutely, man. Not only do you have to have the puppets, but the voice. There's a lot of production involved in here, set pieces. Just people involved in this. It's a big production for having a small budget, and to pull off something like this is, it's tough to do. It's really tough to do, and it's different because it's almost like. I don't even know how to explain this movie. Here, we'll get into the synopsis. So basically, it's a short one. Multiple animals and insects experience the sleazier side of show business while working on a variety show. So essentially, that's kind of what it is. So, Meet the Feebles. The title is basically it's a variety show that's in this puppet world.
It's like the Muppets, dude.
It is like the Muppets. It's set in a puppet world. It's a variety show called The Feebles.
Meet the Feebles, or whatever the fuck.
No, it's just called The Feebles, and it's basically what this movie does. It shows us a little bit of the variety show and stuff, but it's more about the individual characters within the variety show, and
their demons,
and their problems that they're having off stage. Like our main character, which his name is Heidi. Heidi the hippo.
I would say Robert's the main character.
Yeah, Robert's the main character.
I guess so, but I guess so. Well, Heidi's one of them, anyways. She has a lot of.
She's like the Miss Piggy of the show.
Yeah, she gets a lot of kind of showcase in the film and stuff. But yeah, there's some plot lines with her and like porno and fucking.
No, she's not in any of the porno.
No, she's not the porno.
sections.
There's the other porno one, but she's like the lead of the variety show.
Yeah, and she's fucking the guy who's running it, and
the boss, the boss,
Bletch.
So yeah, it's just a mismatch of like all these characters. Like we got characters that are addicted to drugs, that are like, you know, we got bosses that are dealing drugs. We got
a Vietnam vet.
We got a Vietnam vet. We also
to drugs.
We have this rat character that's like he's doing porno. He's trying to exploit these characters by doing porno.
Yeah, he is an asshole.
I think one of the funniest. What's the character's name where he goes to the doctor and the doctor tells him that he has like sex diseases? He has sex diseases, and then later on
he has the bunny AIDS.
Yeah, he's got bunny AIDS, but later on down in the movie, the doc gives him a call and he's like, "Sorry, bro, I fucked up on your diagnosis. You actually don't have bunny AIDS or whatever." It's like so
bunny pox.
Bunny pox. That's so fucking funny, dude.
It's funny and shit. Harry the Rabbit. It's funny and shit because he's like right before that he's like, "Please God, just let me go through this and I'll never do anything bad again."
Oh my god. So like it doesn't have like I said, it doesn't have a forefront narrative to it. It literally is about this variety show and all these characters and their stories within it. That's really all it is.
Like you got Wobbit.
And then you got who's the Mongoose, the Mongoose bodyguard to.
The mongoose?
I think he's a mongoose.
Are you talking about the bulldog?
Oh, bulldog. But he has horn. Oh, yeah. Okay. I guess he's a bulldog.
I can't remember all of them. There's so many characters.
You're talking about the boar.
Yeah, the boar, the bodyguard to the main guy.
Yeah, that's a boar, I think.
Like, I would say there's probably a good, like, 30 to 40 different puppet characters in this. They're actually
there's a lot.
Like, there's a lot that have lines and, like, that are notable characters. And that's why they're so hard to remember because there's, like
the worm.
Oh, my God. There's a fly character in this movie that literally, there's a scene with a fly and the fly's in the toilet eating shit. He's eating shit. It's so fucking... And that's the one thing about this movie is that this
movie's fucking
it's
great,
super vulgar and it's like bonkers. Like these characters are smoking crack and they're doing all this. There's flies that are eating shit.
BSDM and
dude.
I think the funniest is the dude.
You're not a film fan. If you've never watched you haven't lived until you watched the fucking Vietnam flashback scene.
What is the character that gets his own head stuck up his ass?
That's the guy who has his wife, who's trying to convince him that his wife is. He's like, I'm going to expose you on national TV that you had my kid. And he's like, it's the elephant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the elephant.
Oh my god! Like he literally has his head up his ass like the whole movie. He is stuck up. He's like, my head's stuck up my rectum.
Yep.
It's fucking hilarious, man. But it's like batshit stuff like that. Like the porn actress when she's like, what am I gonna do? Piss on his face next? And I'm like, my wife actually walked downstairs and saw that part. She's like, what are you watching? Puppets talking about piss on each other.
I just love the point when they're like trying to come up with names for the porno, and they're like, "Ooh, that's a good title," and we're gonna call it this, and then they're like, "Anal something."
Anal antics.
And just anal antics, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good title."
That's my 2-word review for the movie on Letterboxd right now is anal antics. Yeah, it's there's just so much batshit shit going on in this because all these characters are just fucked up. Like all of them are just messed up, and so.
The Vietnam flashback, dude, literally had me fucking dying. I was like, this is so.
Because I always say that. That's one of the things with me. I always like, oh, this reminds me of Nam. So when they're having Nam flashbacks, I'm like, oh my god, it's so good.
And then they threw me into the pit, and I didn't see him for 2 days, and then I saw him.
Dude, this movie needs a great release. Like, I want to see what it looks like.
So bad, dude.
Because like I said, the ambition in this to have that many characters, that many storylines, that
and
much dialogue,
all funny,
that much
they're
craziness,
all funny, bro.
But it's creative because you created the most messy characters and exploited it to the point where it's so funny with every one of these characters. It's just batshit and it's nonstop. It's literally
the ending is
from
like
the starting of this movie
crazy.
to the end of this movie. There's no downtime because there's so many characters. It just keeps switching up, where you're going with in the story and stuff, and then it just ends on. Just a fucking massacre. Just
a massacre, bro. With gore. With fucking gore.
And it's
puppet gore.
I just laugh because she loses her shit because, the fucking boss is like fucking someone else. And it's just ridiculous why she loses her shit. Just like massacres everybody.
Then when she walks into the bakery and she's like, I'll take this and this. And what about this? And then by the time she's fucking eating the whole bakery.
And it's hilarious because like even when you first
calls
see
her
her,
a fat pig
fucking
too.
See her big hippo nipples like through her shirt, and I'm like, they're definitely gonna show those.
You've been eating again, you fat pig. He fucking calls her a fat fucking pig. Oh my god, she's got
it's
like
in
cakes.
Your contract that you can't eat the day before the show.
Yeah, she's got like fucking cake stuck in her fucking. Oh my god, it's so funny. It's just vulgar shit, man. It's amazing.
Like my two favorite things is the Vietnam flashback and then the bunny aids, dude.
The bunny, that shit when he gets called back and
he
he's
looks like such shit too.
When he comes out of the carrot and he's like all fucking nasty, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
No, you got bunny pox. Sorry about it. Oh shit. Oh my god.
And even then,
so
even the audience members, you could tell there's like a whole bunch of weird characters. Like the alien from Bad Taste is in the audience.
Yeah,
you can see him.
Yeah.
It's just funny. There's like so many weird puppets in the audience too.
Yeah, and like the fact that Robert can't say ours is fucking hilarious. Yeah, because his name's Robert.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, "Oh, Wobbit," and then someone I forget which character is like, "Whatever, Wobbit," or whatever. I think it might be the rat or something. But dude, and like the fucking fly being like a little cunt, like finding out, like telling everyone like,
the drama,
telling the bunny, and
dude.
It's just it's such. There's so much. Like honestly, there's so many storylines and so many different things going on, and just all.
It's actually hard to remember it all. It really is. There's just so
it
much
really
going on.
is. And then even like just fucking watching like the walrus and the fucking bulldog and the fucking boar golfing. I'm just like, this is. I was like just picturing them.
I forgot about that scene.
I love that scene.
Golf course with these costumes and shit. Like, if you walk by, imagine seeing that. Like, what the fuck is going on over there?
Especially like the giant our main character, the piggy character, when she's like walking down the street. It's like you could tell they're in a costume. Imagine just like. And they're shooting a guerrilla style. Imagine just like driving by and
like what is going on?
I like that though, that they use like, full size people and stuff in costumes, and then there's puppets and stuff. It's just funny because they're just massive characters, right? Compared to the puppets. It's hilarious. It's
just so like you're right. It's so ambitious. Like there's so much going on here. There's so many puppets and so many different characters and funny and
has a lot of charm.
Drug use and just fucking gross humor.
Like I like when it's
just amazing.
I don't know, like the one with the long nose, when he goes into the boss's office and they're doing the drug deal and he fucking sniffs the coke.
Oh yeah, it's like, you want a line? And he's like,
no. He's like, I'm good.
Explodes.
And then he's like, oh, you got to try this shit. And then it fucking like blows his nose up and shit, and he like dies. It's fucking ridiculous, man. It's so ridiculous. Oh my god. Yeah.
Great movie.
I love the actually going back to the Vietnam scene, the fucking Russian roulette scene. Oh my god, like that shit is just.
He shoots it and it just fucking kills everyone.
It's just puppets, man. They're playing Russian roulette. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
The Vietnamese gophers are just so fucking racist.
Yeah, totally.
You couldn't do that today, bro.
You couldn't do a lot of things in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think you'd get away with the massacre at the end either. It's just so. Yeah. It's just such a touchy subject, man.
Yeah. The theater shooting.
Yeah. Not the massacred everybody.
Yeah. Oh. Honestly,
this needs a good release, man.
This movie's so fucking just like
got more puking in this.
I waited this long to see it.
Got more puking in. Peter Jackson's the thing with puking because the one character. Oh, which one is it again? Is it Robert? No, who pukes on the stage? And he pops his head up and he just starts fucking yakking all over the stage.
There's so many
towards
puppets,
the end of the scene, he starts puking everywhere on the stage. I can't remember who it is though. I love that scene. It's so funny. Just pops up and he's just like, he's fucking yakking everywhere. Oh my god!
I love when the frog Vietnam vet's throwing the knives and he kills the fucking puppet and he's like, "Oh, get another one." It's just like,
it's so funny when the doctor
get another. Hire somebody else.
Man, I love when the doctor's like, when he first diagnosed the dude with the fucking sex disease, with the diseases, he's like, yeah, he got about 10 to 12, and he's like 10 to 12 months to live.
Like
and he's like, no, 10 to 12 hours. So then he's just a fucking wreck after. It's such a funny setup to tell him that he actually isn't dying from it. It's so funny. Oh man, hilarious. It's
if there's one movie that got onto my wish list for a fucking nice release, it's this movie, dude.
Yes.
It needs it so bad.
Yeah.
I'd love to see like features, like talking about how they made it and all that.
Yeah, love it. I would love it.
Yeah, this one, man, it's just so neglected. It really is neglected, man. When you're only like DVD releases from Substance, holy shit, that's like embarrassing.
And you wonder why.
It's probably old as shit too. Like, when did that DVD come out?
It's like early 2000s. It's actually crazy too because, like I said, the Bad Taste one came out in 2001, and that thing looks amazing, and the Substance is like a VHS transfer, right? Yeah, so no love. It must have something to do with the right, because like nobody ever.
No, Peter Jackson owns the right.
Yeah, he owns them now, I believe.
But what about But at the time that Substance put that out and stuff, because I mean, Anchor Bay obviously did something with acquired the rights to release Bad Taste, right?
And Lionsgate has Dead Alive.
And it has Dead Alive. So what I wonder what was going on with Meet the Feebles at the time.
Yeah, who the hell knows?
I mean, right?
I assume once Peter Jackson got that Lord of the Rings money, he bought his old films.
Oh, he definitely did. He definitely owns them now. Yeah, which is smart.
I mean, that article. When was that article from, Jamie?
18.
Yeah. So, man, it's
just Immortal Engines came out. So
right.
Yeah, I really hope. I would love to see what do you call it? The Naughty Years, Peter Jackson's Naughty Years box set. Oh, that'd be so amazing.
All 4Ks. Oh,
it would be awesome. Like to have those first 5 movies in a box set. It would be amazing. Like right up to The Frighteners. It'd be awesome.
I don't think he owns. Does he own Frighteners?
I don't know.
No, Universal does.
Yeah, I think The Frighteners he doesn't have.
But Arrow's supposed to put that out on 4K. Supposedly, that's the rumor.
I thought maybe he would have, because he's got that Lord of the Rings and Hobbit money, man. He could probably buy that shit up. Universal.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that one was a little bit different though, because that was like a studio movie.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Did he write that? I don't even know if he wrote that.
I don't remember.
That originally was supposed to be a Tales from the Crypt movie, actually.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that before. Wasn't there like a bunch of movies that were slated to be Tales from the Crypt movies? And
From Dusk Till Dawn as well.
Yeah. It's kind of funny when you think about it. But,
Meet the Feebles.
Meet the Feebles, man.
Meet the Feebles.
I like when the public, she's not going to make it. And the fucking knife thrower kills the assistant.
Yeah.
Because they're like, he's not going to make it. Oh, fuck, it's so funny. There's just endless parts in this. It's just hard to...
Everybody's into it for themselves besides Arthur, Robert. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much it.
It's almost like an anthology movie following all these characters and like all the little subplots, and then it just goes bad shit at the end. But yeah, Meet the Feebles, man. What an interesting film. It really is. So much fun.
Yeah, I wish Dave was here for this because I know he loves it.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. I mean, really, all you can just talk about is...
It's a once-a-year kind of watch for sure now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably hold off until there's a better transfer, but I will say the one thing I was having a bit trouble with is, like, because all the puppets, like, they're cartoon voices, essentially, sometimes I was having a hard time hearing what they were saying. Audio is not, like, greatest...
Yeah, I didn't have too much of a problem. Like I said, I watched the DVD. Like, it wasn't too bad. I mean, audio-wise, and But again, where did you watch it?
Did I watch it? I It might have been on Dave's Plex, but I might have got it from somewhere online too. I'm not sure. But who knows what transfer I have, if it was the fucking one that you guys watched or what.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. I don't really know what else to say about it.
I think that's it.
It's just so individual. It's just such a hard thing to... Yeah. Jeremy.
I mean, we talked about most of the funny scenes.
I'm not even joking. There must be 40 to 50 different puppets in this. It's just incredible.
That's what I said. It's I would love to see behind the scenes, who designed them and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot, man. There's a lot of fucking puppets in this movie.
So much. And all the
and where
set
are
pieces,
they now?
All the sets at the oh my, it's just nuts.
Who has them?
There's
Peter
so
Jackson
many.
have them?
Who knows, man?
I want to buy a Feeble.
It's fucking incredible, man.
I want to buy the bunny.
I'd buy the fly. I'd buy the fly.
I want one of those Vietnam gophers.
He's literally eating shit. Oh my, so funny. I love the part when someone's like, who took a big, or it smells like a big donkey shit or something. They say something like that, and then the fly's like, oh really? And he goes flying into the bathroom. It's fucking hilarious, man. Okay, Jeremy, what do you give this one?
Yeah, Meet the Feebles. Just hilarious. I gotta give it an 8.5. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I love the tagline, man. Hell hath no fury like a hippo with a machine gun. 8.5 out of 10. It's fucking hilarious, man. This thing's gonna get bumped up once it gets that inevitable good transfer. Probably able to see some more.
When I first watched it, I liked it, but as time went by, I started thinking about all the scenes, and now talking about it, it is truly great. I'm gonna give it also the same rating as you guys with the 8.5.
Sweet. Yeah.
I have to say it because every time we give 8.5s Hall of Fame, I know it's not a Hall of Fame. I just gotta say it.
Yeah, it's only 25.
It's close,
isn't it? Yeah, 25 and a half. 8, 16, 24, 25 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that is Meet the Feebles from 1989.
Brain dead. It's all right. You can look now. Brain dead.
All right, so getting into the 90s, 1992 with Brain Dead, a.k.a. Dead Alive. Very, very infamous for being noted as, the bloodiest or the goriest, or maybe even both? Definitely the bloodiest.
I think it was the most blood until Evil Dead.
Something like that.
Evil Dead remake.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, though, man, because the last 30 minutes of this movie is so gory and bloody. It's just... Yeah.
I mean, the lawnmower scene takes the cake for anything, really.
It really does. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I forgot that, how crazy it gets at the end with the, giant mom and shit. I totally forgot that happened.
Yeah. Which is always, okay.
Kind of remind me of the Boneyard a little bit.
Yeah, right. Synopsis. A young man's mother is bitten by a subterran? I think it's subterran rat monkey. She gets sick and dies, at which time she comes back to life, killing and eating dogs, nurses, friends, and neighbors. So I gotta say, man, the lead character in this movie, the fuck's his name again? Is it Lionel? No, he's not the lead character. Is that the son?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Lionel. Okay, that's a hard name to remember. He always reminds me of if Jeremy just lived at home just with his mom. I don't know why. Well, no, he's got a dad there too, but I don't know, man. It just for some reason
I don't know. My mom's not that big of a cunt.
No, but
do you know how to swim, Jeremy?
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You can't swim? I always find that so
strange. I never learned.
I always find that so strange.
So basically, we need to get Jeremy in a pool or an ocean.
No,
and then have his dad try to save him, and then Jeremy will be this guy.
Right.
Pretty much.
Dude, how do you not know that, Jeremy?
Never learned.
No, it's just because this guy's a little bit awkward and stuff, and he's totally oppressed by his mom. He's scared shitless of his mom, and he obviously is afraid to date and stuff because his mom's gonna fucking ruin it and blah blah blah. I don't know. There's just all these kind of similarities and stuff, but yeah, man, fucking Dead Alive. What's your guys' history with this movie?
So I actually this was one years and years and years ago. I was hanging out with my friend Abby, staying over at her house, and we were just up late one night on Netflix, and this was on there, and we just went with this, and then we turned it on, and it was just like the perfect movie to watch like that, especially like right at the beginning with the it's so ridiculous when they're in Skull Island and they're like Singaya.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
I love that they call it Skull Mountain because it's just like, oh, that's a foreshadow.
For years, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah. Actually, for years we used to just say Singaya like as a joke, and nobody knew what the fuck we were talking about. And when I was watching this the other night, I almost like recorded that scene and sent it to her, because I don't even know if she knows what the movie is by this point, you know what I mean? Because it was like 10, 12 years ago or something. But like I just love, like I just didn't expect it, when watching it, when it goes from this like Sumerian rat monkey to this fucking crazy gore thing, which by the way, I fucking love the monkey, dude. It is and the dude's like legend has it that these giant fucking
slave rats,
slave ships went over this island and raped the monkeys on there.
I know the backstory behind the rat monkey is so fucking hilarious, dude. I love the fact when it's in the zoo and it fucking kills that monkey and like rips his fucking arm off.
And he's like, "Oh no, not another!"
You're just watching the cute little monkey, and then it punches it and knocks it out.
Yeah, and then rips the arm off or rips the leg off.
Drags it in. Yeah, and then it bites the mom, and she fucking steps on its head. And even like going back to the beginning where like they fucking dude gets bit by the monkey, and then they cut off his arm, and then they're like Singaya, and they cut off his other arm, and then
they cut off his head.
No, they cut off his they cut off his hand, and then they cut off the rest of the arm on him.
Yeah,
but those effects are good. Like the hand chop and the arm chop, they look good, man. Like really good.
You could definitely tell he had way more money for this one.
Yeah, dude. Like honestly, man, the blood and gore scene, like it looks really good in this movie. Almost every scene, it's just fucking nasty. There's some nastiness to this, man.
What? No. What do you say? No dessert.
I haven't had a good custard like that.
I haven't had a good custard in years.
Oh, when she squeezes her fucking wound and the pus and blood lands in the custard. And you know me, I can't stand
pus.
His
mouth too. He opens his mouth real wide, and he's holding the spoon like full fisted, and he's like,
"Oh man,
dude!" I remember we were
vile.
watching that like gagging back in the day. Like now I can watch it no problem, but well, it's still kind of sickening, but it's fucking nasty.
It's so ridiculous, like how his mom even gets bit by the rat monkey. Like she's just there spying on her son because he's like on a date at the zoo with this chick and stuff. I'm like, are you kidding me? Fucking ridiculous.
This movie just gets so fucking ridiculous.
The whole setup is ridiculous, man, with the rat monkey and stuff. But I just
and then we never really hear anything about the rat monkey again after she kills it. It's just like, oh, I kick ass for the Lord.
Well, the focus is on her, right? Like she gets back to the house, and then she obviously dies, comes back to life and shit, and then everyone around her starts getting bit, and it's just nonstop ridiculousness, man. You know, the one thing about this movie that's always caught me off guard as to why Peter Jackson made the mom grow into like this ginormous fucking like I don't know what he was thinking with it, because it literally makes no sense at all.
Yeah, well, we really don't know what the fucking Singaya does to people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it could have been from maybe it's one of the byproducts of getting bit. Like you eventually just grow
somehow
huge.
Works though.
Yeah.
It's like I love when he gets the tranquilizer. He's like, "Do you have any?" I forget what he says. He's like, "But I got tranquilizers."
Yeah.
He's like, "I don't have sedatives. I have tranquilizers." He's like a fucking ex-Nazi. You could tell he's an ex-Nazi.
Dude, but the mom, like when she gets all giant and shit, like that shit, when it's coming up the stairs and shit, you're like, holy shit, like this is a big fucking effect, man.
It is. And like her butt is so funny. Like the shape of her body, it's hilarious to me, man. So
and
funny.
Her tits.
Actually, you know what? You ever notice the part where, like when the mom and like how she gets bit by the rat monkey, she actually slips on a banana peel.
Yeah. It's fucking silly.
Which is kind of funny, because that's like, you know, related to to Skull Island, bananas, King Kong, monkey. It's just kind of funny. It's a banana peel. It's just fucking hilarious how all that kind of comes together. But she actually slips on a banana peel. It's fucking hilarious.
And like, it's just so ridiculous when you like are thinking like, these motherfuckers put that vicious rat monkey in a zoo. Like you just look at it and you're like, that looks like fucking Satan.
Right. It is funny though, right? Because they go and capture this rat monkey from Skull Island just to put into a zoo. But I guess that's what zoo owners do, man. They just want the exotics and they want the craziness and stuff, right? That's how you make your money. So
it's just fucking
insane.
Such a ridiculous movie. And it just the gore and just the fucking it cranks up to 11 in the final act, bro.
I mean, there's a lot of gross shit that's happening, like we said, that custard scene and stuff, and then people are slowly getting turned and stuff, and then it's all gonna go to shit when the uncle kind of takes over the house and then invites all his cronies over for that party and shit, and then there's a bunch of zombies around. It just goes fucking ape shit from there, man. Just crazy.
Yeah, definitely the weirdest like infected zombie movie thing. One of the weirdest ones.
Oh man, it's so cool, man. Like the designs on the people that are turning and shit are really good. But
my favorite is when the head gets cut in half and the baby pops through it.
Yeah, it's a cool effect, man.
Yeah, that's the best effect.
You know, I always thought like the baby being born. Do you realize where the baby comes from? Because like there's that scene where the zombies are actually fucking.
Yeah.
Right. But do you realize where the baby actually comes out of? Like the girl that gets him obviously is supposed to, maybe she was I don't know how the fuck they do this, but the baby isn't born from her.
Where's it born from? I can't remember.
The fucking radio. It comes out of the radio.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
So he goes downstairs and he goes to like turn up the radio volume, and all of a sudden this baby like fucking pulls this baby out of the radio. It doesn't come out of her. What the fuck is with that?
I don't know, maybe it's a commentary on
right, because they make a fucking point of showing the zombies fucking, but then the baby comes out of the huge old 50s radio. It's like so bizarre. It's so weird to me. And then how the mom fucking blows up and she's like this huge King Kong character. Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness, but I gotta say, like, one of the most brilliant things ever to create gore is have a lawnmower scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so brilliant, man. It's so brilliant. It just makes complete sense on how to, remove the zombies. It's just awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah, this is a movie that I didn't like. The first time I seen it, loved it, and then I watched it again, and I was like, it's kind of basic, but just gory. But I don't know. This watch was really good as well.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of basic but gory.
I love this movie. I love this movie, man. I think it's entertaining as shit. There's a lot of like good one-liners in this that are kind of subtle and shit. Like the scene where this Lionel goes up to see his mom in the bed and he realizes that she's eating the dog and he pulls the fucking tail out of her mouth, right? Yep. And then the girlfriend comes upstairs and she's like, "Oh my god, your mom ate my dog!" And Lionel turns to her and says, "Well, not all of it."
Yeah,
just nonchalantly says that. It's so funny, man. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and it like, I don't know. I love the setup to this movie with the first scene on Skull Island or whatever, and then the zoo scene, and then all the like slowly gross stuff where the mom's getting worse and worse. It's really entertaining, and honestly, like Lionel was actually very likable too.
Yeah,
and It's just, I don't know.
It's because you feel sorry for him. You feel they set it up kind of interesting because you feel sorry for him because you know that he's totally being oppressed by his mom. His mom's overpowering, and he's kind of fallen into his mom's trap and stuff like that. But then there's this odd twist at the end too that makes him even more likable, right? And his mom even less. Well, she was never likable, but now you hate the mom even more and stuff. It's kind of funny how they throw that emotion, that emotional scene at the end of the movie where it's just been already beyond batshit crazy too. Some weird kind of angles that he comes from.
It's like a more goofy Norman Bates.
It really is, man. I still think, besides the obvious lawnmower scene where, like, literally the last 30 minutes of this movie is batshit insane. There's so much effects going on. I'd like to see the features on how long it took them to actually do.
Dude,
from the time the guests come over,
forever.
from the time the guests come over and the zombies kind of break up from the basement, like there's so much effects. Like it's just fucking, it's incredible, man. But one of my favorite scenes besides the ending is actually when the priest kicks the shit out of those punks in the graveyard.
I kick ass for the load.
Oh my god, dude! When he fucking
it's
kicks,
so ridiculous.
When he kicks that the arm off, and he picks up the arm and he like bats him with it, and he's like the limbs are breaking off as his priest is like totally kicking the shit out of him. It's so fucking funny, man. That whole scene is hilarious. It's kind of goofy and shit when he kicks the head, and oh man, it's goofy, but it's fun. It's fun. It's shot well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, this one supposedly had a $3 million budget.
Yeah, they spent $2.5 million just on blood. Fucking so much, man.
Do you like the title Brain Dead or Dead Alive better?
Dead Alive.
So do I, actually.
I like the cover, too. Cover's kind of iconic.
Yeah, I like it better than Brain Dead cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's another really cool effect is, again, going back to the table scene when when he's feeding the zombies. Actually, it's the table scene with the zombies feeding the zombies, and when the one girl, her head is basically dislodged from her neck, and he kind of pulls back the head and he starts feeding her through the neck hole. Oh man, that is so nasty looking. Because when she's eating, it starts coming through, and he's like, "Oh well, I pull back the head," and he starts feeding it into the neck hole, and I'm just like, it's so fucking nasty looking, man. Such a good effect.
You know what scene actually grosses me out like pretty bad is when the mom like first gets bit and she's like held up in bed and he takes her bandage off and he's like trying to clean out her wound and it's like so fucking bad. Yeah. It's like so bad and you're like but he has that look where he's like, this looks really fucking bad.
You know what's so ridiculous about that scene? Because it's never really shown that I can remember. Maybe I missed it, but like the mom never says like, okay, so if you were at a zoo or anywhere, if you were just out walking and you got bit by a wild animal or at a zoo or whatever, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Rabies.
You're going to go to the hospital and get a fucking shot, obviously. So why wouldn't you take your, like, she never says in the film, like, oh, we got to go home or I'm not going to no fucking hospital, blah, blah, blah. They just, the next scene is like they're at the house and she's like all infected and dying and shit. It's like, if you got bit by, especially something that looked like
they brought over some sort of doctor, didn't they?
Yeah, but
nurse.
I mean,
and then she's like, oh, she has to go to the hospital.
Right, but why wouldn't you just go straight to the hospital, right? The second you got bit, you go to the hospital and get some shots. I mean, it was an animal.
Yeah, normal people.
Especially a rat monkey, something that looked like that, it'd be like, fuck that shit, man. I'm going to get a shot right now.
The rat monkey could have his own movie, bro.
Right. I just love when she stomps on the head, though. Like, it's just...
its fucking eyes are coming out.
The eyes are popping out and the head's like totally crushing shit. It's great.
Because you have like an actual practical monkey and then you have the stop motion.
Stop motion, yeah.
I love stop motion.
Me too, man.
Like I know people say like people used to critique scenes like that of like trash, effects. Mm-hmm. But like to me, they just look so cool.
Not me. I grew up on Pee-wee's Playhouse. That shit used stop motion all the fucking time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me too, man. I love stop motion. I'm a big fan of Harryhausen and just anything to do with stop motion, man.
He was the best, but even like small scenes of stop motion and stuff, like, yeah, I get it. It kind of doesn't look like it's in the movie and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it looks otherworldly. But to me, like, even in Evil Dead, right? Like, to me, it works really good in Evil Dead because it's, like, otherworldly,
It works good in Beetlejuice, too. There's some stop motion in Beetlejuice that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, very good stop motion in Beetlejuice. I think the worst stop motion I've seen was in Basket Case. It's not very good, but it's still kind of fun.
Yeah, but, I mean,
stop motion is so cool, dude. It's a lost art, too. Nobody does it anymore.
Big time.
Because it takes it's a fucking pain in the ass. Like, I can't imagine. I would get so frustrated.
Well, Charlie Band used to do it right all the time.
Yeah, and that's why Puppet Master fucking sucks now, is because they don't do any stop motion.
Yeah.
The stories
anything to do with CG and oh my god. It's like yeah, man. Oh, the new Puppet Master movie.
There was some good stop motion in the original Puppet Master.
Oh, they look really good, actually, considering, for who made it.
Yeah, like when Tunneler runs at the dude with his head down.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, not a ton to say about these movies, but...
Well, there really isn't. Like, there's
really fun.
all of them are very kind of basic narrative-wise and stuff. I mean...
It's a zombie movie.
It is.
Not
It's
your favorite
a gore.
zombie
It's a gore movie.
They're splatter flicks, you know. Like it's mainly the point of them is mainly the gore. Like there's more plot in this than Bad Taste, but at the same time, like once shit hits the fan, there's no plot. It's just madness.
Except for when, like I said, towards the end, when there's a reveal in the film, right? There's this kind of like, I guess you call it a twist reveal, something to do with the mom and stuff.
My favorite kill is when the lady's mouth goes through the light bulb and she's like illuminating the whole fucking movie.
I love
which really doesn't make the most sense. That light bulb.
I just love the fact that like that lady who is stuck on the wall with the light bulb and shit is there for like 25 minutes before she finally fucking catches on fire. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Ratings.
Yeah, man, I absolutely adore Dead Alive, man. I think it's just it's a fucking blast from the start to end. It's kind of like Bad Taste. Gore films, man, turn your brain off and just watch. I mean, there's nothing more to it and shit like that. I think this is definitely one of the better ones ever made on this kind of level. It works. There's a lot of great one-liners. Just a lot of crazy stuff happening here. 10 out of 10.
What?
10 out of 10. I love this movie. It's a perfect example of relatively low budget filmmaking. This movie it's just so much bigger than it probably should be. I mean, it's crazy what they accomplished, especially in the last 30 minutes. I mean, most filmmakers could never pull that off. Right.
Oh, it's like we said with Meet the Feebles, dude, and even Bad Taste. Like Peter Jackson was incredibly ambitious. He always seemed to exceed what his means were. So I agree. I mean, it's even this one with a $3 million budget. It still looks like they did more than $3 million worth of work.
You know, it's crazy, man. Like when you take the last 30 minutes of this film, how many death scenes there are that are on camera. I mean, there's more death scenes in the last 30 minutes of this movie than there is in the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's crazy. There is.
This only made $242,000 at the box office.
I mean, that probably comes down to marketing too. Who knows if it was even marketed properly.
Yeah. Who knows how many theaters it was in.
That's just crazy. That's such a low amount of money.
Yeah. Crazy.
My next.
Okay. I'm next, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, this is a pretty classic 90s horror flick, man. I mean, Liverpool 92 would be hard competition for this not to be Mid's number one, I'll tell you that.
Well, I've talked about this before. I said my favorite, three of my favorite movies of the 90s are Dead Alive, The Frighteners, and Cemetery Man. So there you go. Yeah. I mean, I've mentioned this before, so.
Right. Well, we know The Frighteners was your number one in 96. 94 is next. And,
right? So there you go. Like, I mean, I've been pretty open about this.
Yeah. But it's honestly another one of those movies that, like, I feel like plays. I would love to see this in the theater, honestly, now that I think about it. That pretty fucking amazing theater drive-in or something. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give this bad boy a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
9. I'm at a 7.5.
7.5?
I mean, I don't even know how. I mean, when you, like, for me, rating a film right here, this is pure enjoyment, entertainment, and just, I mean,
There's really nothing wrong with
the ambition. And that's the thing, you know, right? Like, it's just, everything about it, it's just crazy. It honestly blows my mind. It really does. It's like a clinic on low budget, even $3 million, you know. How he pulled it off is beyond me. No idea. But entertainment, man. That's what Peter Jackson did. These first 3 movies, man, like, how can you deny that they're not 3 of the most entertaining movies?
Yeah, very, very fun director. Would love to see him return to horror. And honestly, I really enjoyed watching all 3 of these films. Even Bad Taste, which I did not expect to like, really. I don't know necessarily why, but I just think I thought it was going to be stupid, but I mean, it is a little stupid, but it's like stupid in the good ways. But yeah, it's just a great director, fun director spotlight. I forget who picked this show. Do you know?
No idea.
Oh, I didn't even mention that I'm pretty sure it was a Patreon pick.
Yeah. I forget who gave us the
Might have been
Peter Jackson
Sam.
spotlight.
I actually have no idea.
I have no clue. All right, well, that's that.
Yeah, that's Dead Alive from 1992. Peter Jackson, director's spotlight. Yeah, what can I say, man? So much fun. Yeah, he's just on a different level, that dude, man. Different level. Yeah, you got to check out Heavenly Creatures, man.
He's a great documentarian too.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but
I like the angle that he took for doing Heavenly Creatures also, because there's a lot of voiceovers throughout the narrative, and it's literally they're literally read word for word out of one of the girl's diaries, because she documented the entire thing, her relationship with her friend and when she killed her mom, and it's all documented in the diaries, so it's like right from her own words, and it's read word for word throughout the movie and stuff. And I like the angle that he took, because he didn't just do it from like one angle. He really kind of showcased the relationship throughout the whole movie between these two girls and stuff. And you got to remember, it's set in the 50s.
You give that movie a 10 out of 10 too. What other directors have you gave two movies 10 out of 10s for?
It's brilliant, man.
Romero, Mario Bava.
It's honestly a really well done character study of these two girls and their relationship, and that's the focus, and then it leads into the crime that they commit. And the true story is actually really mind blowing. I'm not really too sure why they only got 5 years in jail, because they were convicted. Like, this is a plotted first degree murder, right? It's documented. It's not second degree. They went to jail for 5 years and were paroled. It's the craziest thing. And they're both still alive to this day.
Which country did that happen in?
New Zealand.
Oh.
And
Yep.
but yeah, they're still alive to this day. They're 83 years old.
Crime, I'm probably going to do it in New Zealand.
And they both. The one girl became like a very famous author. She changed her name and went under. And I guess nobody even knew that it was her until 1994. About the time the movie came out, the connection was made between this very famous writer, and that she was the one that was part of this murder and stuff. It's kind of interesting, but they're both still alive to this day. And I guess it's rumored that one of the stipulations was, when they got out of jail after 5 years, was that they were never allowed to see each other again, because their relationship was documented as being very obsessive toward each other. And there's these undertones of the parents and everyone thinking that they had a lesbian relationship. And, it's back in the 50s, right? And there's this crazy scene in the film where the doctor's basically talking to the mom, and he's telling her, is like, they're talking about her possibly being a lesbian and stuff like that, and how it can be fixed with science and shit. It's just like of the times, right? Like, they didn't talk about this type of stuff, and they figured it was just something you grow out of. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy to hear that shit, man. But it's just a really good movie, man. I mean, I would watch the first half of Peter Jackson movies before I'd watch anything he's done in the last 20 years. I mean, it's not that I don't like the Lord of the Ring movies. They're just...
I've never even seen them.
They're not really my type of thing, to be honest. The first time I watched them was actually it was years ago. I watched all three of them, the long versions. And it was like, 12 or 13 hours of straight Lord of the Rings. It's like, the extended, Return of the King is literally 5.5 hours long.
Yeah, it's like 4.5 or something.
It's something like that. It's just like they're beyond epics. But I always think of Clerks too, when they're talking about Lord of the Rings and they're having that battle and shit like that. And
One ring will rule them all.
All they do is fucking walk.
Oh yeah, the Clerks thing.
It's true because they actually do walk a lot.
There's only one return, and it ain't of the king.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's of the Jedi.
Oh, that is a great scene. I love that shit.
That's not even the best scene in the movie. The ending scene's the best scene in that movie.
Yeah,
it makes me laugh every fucking time, man. Kinky Kelly and the Stud always makes me laugh.
Oh,
yeah, Peter Jackson, man, definitely one of the most unique directors of all time. Have two different sets of careers, man. Very interesting. But yeah, that's going to conclude episode 221. Peter Jackson in the books. Guys have anything else?
Good old PDJ.
PDJ.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 221 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Podcast. If you want to follow the man Moods himself, you could do so at youtube.com/Moods616. If you want to follow Late JP, you could do so at youtube.com/DoubleShotJ. You even post any more, JP? I haven't seen you make a video in like 8 months.
I made one a couple months ago. Update, I think.
Yeah. Follow me on my channel, youtube.com/AdiosWorld22. Leave us a voicemail at 724-426-6665. Leave us an email at 22shotsofmoodsandhorror@gmail.com. 22shotsofmoodsandhorror@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com, search bar 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Podcast. Join us on Twitter, twitter.com/22shotspodcast. And please support the Patreon to get the sand sucked out of my vagina. Patreon.com/22shotspodcast. All right, everybody, that should do it for this week's show. We shall be back in a couple weeks. Going to take a couple week break, but we'll be back in a couple weeks with a episode on crazy bitches. So we're going to be doing May, Alice Kills, and Excision. So a psycho bitch episode. So should be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, actually. It's kind of an interesting idea. So we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
Deuces.